but he's not. It's not happening. It's not happening.
All right, what's up, everybody?
Don't blame Hailey. It was the other show's fault. Low can't tell time. He might be the legend of winning, but he's not the legend of telling time.
I don't think we hot yet.
Yeah, Low. Y'all took
we hot. Oh, yeah.
Are we hot? Oh,
yeah,
now we're hot. Okay, now we're hot.
Live and direct.
Don't blame the host because, Low took forever to get off the last show. But, it's good to see you guys. We have a lot in store today. Obviously, in about 30 minutes, we're going to have Flat Earth Dave join us.
Flat Earth Dave!
You all requested, so we're going to deliver for you guys. Although I don't know what to expect, but come with an open mind, an open heart. It's going to be great.
You better have questions for him.
Oh, I have questions. Don't be worried. I spent the whole afternoon watching Bill Nye and how to prove the Earth is not flat.
Hey, random guy.
My go-to guy.
Random guy on YouTube.
Shots fired.
Yep. So we have a lot to get into, though. We'll definitely touch on some of your super chats and deeper topics later on after Flat Earth Dave joins us. But before we get into that, of course, I want to shout out our GOAT members that have been a part of the Player's Choice for a while. Shout out to King J and Comatose. Comatose recently became a GOAT member. So big dub there. Yep. And honestly, what I started off with, we just got breaking news about MJ and, as Flint calls them, the Charlotte Bobcats still. So.
Oh.
They're not that anymore,
Tony.
Just so you know, they're not the Bobcats anymore.
Listen,
they're not.
To me, they're the Charlotte Bobcats. OKC is the Seattle Supersonics. The LA Clippers are the San Diego Paperclips. Let me think of some other ones. They're still the New Orleans Jazz, because ask Jay. They don't let you play jazz music in Utah, so I don't know how it's the Utah Jazz. That came from New Orleans.
They do not. So.
Oh, can I address something real quick? One, just so you guys know, Flat Earth Dave goes crazy. I'm gonna hit him with I got some air horns to shut him. But two, someone in the comments mentioned something about my fake ass accent. And I just want to be clear. This is the way I talk. I've always talked like this. I've forever talked like this. And if anything, if you heard me talking like this, it's because I'm in a boardroom and I'm purposely trying to do something.
The suit and tie tone. That's the suit and tie tone.
That's the not real. So anyways, I just had to address that. Okay, take it away.
In today's meeting,
we're going to cover the ramifications of the global economy.
The voice.
Oh my God! Here we go.
So I mean. MJ. I mean, this was a long time coming. Fluent. This is a long time coming, I feel like. But what are your thoughts? I mean,
Tone, why are you not buying this? I want to get right to the meat and potatoes of this, H Boogie. Tone, why are you not buying this? What's the problem here?
It's not. No, there's no problem at all. It's that he is selling. The news is, the headline is, he's selling the Bobcats. The Hornets. He's selling the team. He's not. He's selling a stake in the team. He's going to continue to have a minority stake in the team. Let's be honest. He's doing it for money. Why is he doing it? He's probably buying something else because he's a billionaire. I don't think he's strapped for cash. And I think he's come to the realization when, you guys, when I always get into that argument with people and they're like, Jordan quit. And I'm like, guys, the word quit means to give up. Give up means to succumb to failure. So stepping away isn't quitting. And I fight with people. I get it. It's semantics. He's quitting because he's a terrible owner and he's a worse GM. He might be the worst. He might have realized, I can't do this. I can't do this. Even his baseball career, which started off horribly wrong. If you look at the end of it, he was actually getting better. Not good.
He just sucked less, Tone. Let's just call it that.
He sucked less. He was getting better. Either one, semantics. But there was also a baseball strike, so it gave him the perfect excuse. The baseball strike. I don't want to do this anymore. Dude hadn't played baseball since he was
high school. Since high school,
yeah. So it was bound to be a failure. So he smartly quit baseball. Quit because he failed. He quit baseball. Ownership, GM, he quit because he failed. I just don't think
he quit in 1993 too with the Bulls. He quit, Tone. The reason why you don't want to accept the fact that he quit is because you're a Jordan guy.
No,
he still had 2 more years on his contract. When you do not fulfill your obligations, which he did not, he said, I fulfilled my obligations. No, you didn't. He still had 2 more years left on his deal. He said, I don't want to play no more. I quit. Period.
Okay.
Now, I think when you think of the word quit, you think of a quitter.
Because people use it in a way to say it's a succumb to failure. Because
it's not that. No.
I'm a human dictionary. It's not my fault. Quitting means to give up.
But it's not that.
To failure.
And the late, great Kobe Bryant has said in the past, there is no shame in quitting. There is none. It depends on how you do it. Jay quit.
Do you use it as a negative? I guess is my question.
It depends on how you do it. Now, if you quit in the middle,
do you think Jordan quit in a negative way? So keep in mind, he's the top of his game. He's the best player. He just three-peated, and his dad was just brutally murdered. Do you say it was a negative thing?
Okay, so let's rewind the clock. Number one, his father being killed had nothing to do with him quitting. He had already said him and his father dying had nothing to do with him quitting. He had already said that his father and him were the only ones who knew that was his last game in Phoenix, that he was out. Him and his father was the only.
I don't believe that.
I do. I absolutely do.
You know why I don't believe it?
Why?
Because why did he wait till like the last possible second to announce it?
Right. So
why did he wait till after his father's death to announce it?
He could have, and he could have, and that's the other thing, Tone. We're talking about a guy who he didn't quit in July. He didn't say in July I'm retiring. This is a week before training camp opens up.
That's my point.
This is a week before training camp opens up. He's like, I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore. Now, I personally believe that he quit considering now, and when I say quit, Tone, I don't mean quit like, yo, I'm running. No, I don't want to play anymore. Not because I don't have anything else to prove, not because I'm at the mountaintop and I'm afraid to get knocked off. No, I just don't want to play anymore. It's become too much for me. That's all it is. It's not, yo, I need a break for, and just so you know, Tone, had we not had the baseball strike, he would have never came back to basketball. He was out.
I actually think that's true.
He was out.
I really think he would have. I think he would have stayed.
He was out. Had it not been for the baseball strike, and they had the baseball strike in '94. Had that not happened, we would have never seen Jordan again as a basketball player. He was out. He didn't want nothing else to do with it. But the idea that, yo, quitting sounds like a bad thing. You quit a job, and you don't quit a job because you can't handle it anymore. You quit a job because you know what, this ain't for me anymore.
No, but
you can quit a job. There are a number of different reasons that you can
resign. I can
do that too.
Sabbatical. I can retire. When I retire from my job, does anyone say he quit, or does it say he retired?
They tell you that you retired. It depends.
At the end of the day, you're right. I think he retired with the intent of playing baseball for the rest of his life.
I think he was out. I don't think he was ever coming back. I don't.
So is that quitting or is that retiring?
I think that he quit.
Why don't we say? Do we say Brett Favre quit and then came back and quit? No, we say he retired and then he unretired. Tom Brady. Do we say he quit when he comes back and plays for the Dolphins this year?
He's not coming back, Tom.
He's not coming back
already with Tom Brady. So
it's not happening.
Tom Brady is done. So we just have this negative connotation about Michael Jordan and how tough he is and how much he fights through everything. And the word quit with him is not synonymous. But he said it himself. I had fulfilled my obligation.
Retiring from the game of basketball.
And then years later,
he didn't say I quit.
And then years later, he said, "quote Then I quit."
Yeah.
And not only did he quit once, you're firing my coach. I quit.
That time he quit. That time I'll say absolutely. In 98, they said, hey, your coach ain't back, Pippen ain't back.
I quit.
And he's like, then I'm out. That time he quit. He easily could have said, well, I'm back. And let's see if we can't get this thing, get a fourth one with a new team. But he said, no.
I quit.
So that time I agree. 100%. And from the Wizards, I can't do it no more. I quit. So I'm good with those other two. And I'm really happy about this one. I'm really happy about this one because he is, listen, he is a horrible, not a horrible, I shouldn't say he's a horrible owner because I don't know.
You can say it, Tony.
Yeah.
No, because I don't think he's a horrible owner. I think he treats his players well, the team. It's not
smacking his players on the bench, smacking his players upside the head on the bench. But he's a great owner.
That's not owner MJ, right? He doesn't have him in a ratty old bus. He doesn't have them, it's not like Major League, if you remember that movie where he has them
prop plays.
Prop playing, trying to get him to games. Like he treats his players well. He plays them, but he is a bad general man. Like he is not a good judge of talent, which is so weird to me because I see guys like him, like Wayne Gretzky in hockey. Like there's certain ones where they're horrible. But then I see guys like Jerry West. Dude, has there been a better executive than Jerry West? Larry Bird was amazing as a coach and a GM. Like, there's just certain guys that they get it, and then others that don't.
And so we clear, Tone, as one of the 5 best small forwards in NBA history, in your estimation, Elgin Baylor was the general manager for the Los Angeles Clippers. Terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible. That is good. Yes. Terrible.
Well, but that's not his fault. That's the Clippers' fault. The paper clips.
There we go.
It's just part of being their franchise. It's cursed.
It's like going to work for the Cleveland Browns.
Fluent, I'm curious then if you think that he has difficulty, drafting players, or do you think it's that he's looking kind of like for himself in the players, or what do you think is like the biggest issue with his drafting?
He doesn't know how to. He doesn't know how to evaluate. I don't want to say evaluate talent. He just there's certain people that just don't have an eye for it, and I don't think he can look at a player and be like, oh. Yeah, he's going to be a good one, because the thing is, I think he falls maybe in love with some of the raw talent, and he expects people to work as hard as he did, and they don't. Right? There's guys like Jordan, Kobe, Braun. Like there's a very, very short list of guys that work. KD is in the gym. Like this dude. Like I think there's a reason he never. I'm assuming he never got married. I don't know if he has no kids. I'm going to assume he has no kids. Because he's always in the gym. Like there's just a thing about like certain guys that they just work harder than everyone else, but that's a small group of people. And he sees a Kwame Brown and he's like, man, out of high school, 7 foot, long wingspan, this dude's gonna if he works as hard as I did, wow. I don't think he worked as hard as he did. I think
you can say that about any GM, though. I don't think that's what separates him from like others. I feel like, don't you think?
What do you think?
I don't know. Like when I look at the Hornets or the Bobcats, I see a team that it's a good team. I like the individual players. I just don't know if they work collectively. I feel like they're missing pieces that would make them better. Like keep some, maybe trade others. Obviously injuries and like drama has kind of played a part in like why they're struggling so much this season with Melo out and then, Miles Bridges and all that ordeal. But I don't know.
You think that's a good team? Like you think that's a well-constructed roster?
No, I don't think so. But I'm just saying like you could say that about any GM. You can't really look at a player and know if they're going to work hard. I mean, you could look at their past and their history and stuff, but I don't know. I just wondered if that is what makes him, not a good GM. And also, when we look at his past business, like his past partnerships, obviously Jordan Brand was huge, but what was he really like? Maybe you guys know more. Was how much of a part of the actual business strategy was he a part of compared to like, I don't know.
Who, Jordan?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he was very, very hands-on. But again, he was too hands-on, right? He picked a GM that he could manipulate. He picked coaches like, his first coach Doug Collins, the guy whose offensive philosophy was get the ball to Jordan and get the F out of the way. That's not the kind of guy you need. I'm sorry. It's just wrong. Like, that's just, you can't do that. And so he put people in place that, hey, that's what people do. That's what billionaires do. They put people in place that they like, that they get along with, that'll listen to them, not people who will be combative and push back. And I think, but the other part of that is, you know, he's got a mental health issue, right? He is so competitive. And just like the fact that he would go out and challenge a 20-year-old, an 18-year-old, because they're 18, 20-year-old and they've got bravado and they go, I think I could take you. Really? All right, let me lace them up. And then proceeds to embarrass them on the court, destroying their confidence to where, like, I believe, didn't he ruin like OJ Mayo's career? Like, it's just
there's plenty of guys' career that he definitely ruined.
You can't, like, I guess you can, but you can't do that and be an owner, of a team, because you've just destroyed, this young guy's confidence. Like, just think about how it feels. I don't care that it's Michael Jordan. 450. If I went out, I'm almost, you know how old I am. If I go out and there's a rookie on my team, because eventually I'll be a GM of the Knicks or the Hornets, and I go out and I beat a dude one-on-one, a rookie at my age, I'd be like, they shouldn't be in the league no more. That's what what they're gonna think. It depends on who it's coming from, though. I mean, Tone, if it's the great Michael Jordan, I got beat by the great Michael Jordan. So, do you think they think that way?
Yes, absolutely they do. I got beat by the.
I don't care. He's 50. They don't think I got beat by.
Now that's different. Like, you talking about Jordan now in 2010, like Jordan was like, I think he was 47, 48, something like that. So I can still play a little bit. I'm probably not nearly as good as I used to be, but I can still play a little bit for a short stretch. So because I can still play a little bit for a short stretch, and I can show you, I give you a glimpse of what I used to be. Because, Tone, I'm a firm believer in the logic that I am just as good once as I ever been. No question about that. You
think that Steven Jackson story, that when he laced them up at 50 and proceeded to beat them dudes, do you think they were okay with that?
I'm not sure that they were okay with it, but I do think that it was an idea that this is what it looked like. Now, the smartest people surround themselves with people who are smarter than them. The problem with Jay is Jay got to be the smartest guy in the room. Jay got to be the big dog in the room, and Jerry West doesn't have to be that, right? Isaiah Thomas, when he was in the war room and drafted Damon Stoudemire and drafted Tracy McGrady, he didn't have to be that. He didn't have to be the smartest guy in the room. These guys that Jordan are around are a bunch of yes men. There are a bunch of guys who they do what he says, as opposed to Jerry West, as opposed to a jury, as opposed to the better GMs in the game, where, like Danny Ainge, where he surrounds himself with people that know what they're talking about and they know basketball, and they're going to call me when I got the number one overall pick in the draft, or I got the number 6 overall pick in the draft, and I'm going to pass on Rudy. I'm going to pass on Rudy Gay for Adam Morrison. So wait a minute. Now, there are some people in the room that are like, okay, Jordan, this is a great idea. But there's somebody in the room going, Jay, this is a terrible idea. In the words of my man Toe, this is a terrible idea, and here's why. But I'm scared to lose my job. I'm afraid to lose my job, and I'm afraid to stand up to this guy. And these are the kind of people that Jay hired, which would explain why you saw what you saw. The Portland Trailblazers did their homework on Damian Lillard. They did all of their homework on Damian Lillard, which is why they drafted him at 6, which is why Jordan passed on him, because he didn't do his homework on this kid. He didn't find out who this kid was. He didn't know that, this dude was first team all-league as a freshman and as a sophomore and player of the year in the league in his 3rd year. He didn't do his homework on this guy. He's too busy wrapped up in this guy right now in Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and he looks good. So he didn't do it. Not only did he not do his homework, these are also the people who are behind Jay telling him, okay, this is our guy too. When in reality, there's somebody in the room going, I don't know if this is our guy.
I'm going to leave you two alone for 2 minutes. I got to go check on something with Flat Earth Dave here for a second. I want to make sure everybody knows, if you have a question for Flat Earth Dave, put it in the super chat now, because once he's on, they're probably going to flood in. I'll put it in there. We have some super chats already that we have to get to. I want to say this though quickly. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. I live by that philosophy. So give me a minute. I got to go deal with this. I will let you guys start the whatever conversation you want. I will jump back in 30 seconds.
No problem. So, yeah, H, I think the problem with Jay in that particular situation is he surrounded himself with people who didn't really challenge him. And I don't mean challenge him physically. I'm talking about from a basketball intellect, right? From a basketball standpoint. Hey, Jay, I did my homework on this kid. Hey, Jay, I did my homework on this kid. I think that this guy is going to be this. I think he's going to be that. No, I'm going with this guy. Here's why this is a mistake for you to go with this guy and go with this guy instead. I don't think he had people like that around him. I think he had people around him who were there to appease him. I think he had people around him who did mostly what he said. And don't get me wrong, H. If there's a boss on a certain level, all right, we got to do what the boss says. However, there comes a time when this is a bad idea and you got to say something. You can't just keep going along with it and watch the ship sink, right? So H, you in the room with you, you're in the war room and you see Steph Curry on the board and you know that this guy is going to be special. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Timberwolves are looking at Ricky Rubio and you're like, no. This is not him. No,
not Ricky.
Ricky Rubio is not the guy. And I've seen him. I've seen Ricky Rubio in the Olympics, and he looks fantastic. However, this kid out of Davidson, he checks all the boxes. Maybe we need to take a closer look at him. And you can't back down from that because you believe in him and you've done your homework. So I don't think Jay surrounded himself with those kind of people.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. And yeah, I mean, you don't want just yes men. That's why you have a board or, you know, a whole staff. So
correct.
Yeah.
I got the tail end of that. And let me just say this. The fact that Minnesota had 2 picks in a row. I don't know if you said this while I was gone. 2 picks in a row, both point guards, and picked Rubio and Flynn and didn't take a chance on Steph is ridiculous.
To be honest with you, Tony, I think the best thing that happened to Steph was not going to Minnesota. They would have wrecked him.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I've said this to you before. I think he's out of the league in like 5 years.
They would have wrecked him. No doubt about it.
They would have ruined him. He would have bounced around. He would have been like either like Flynn or Rubio or somewhere in between.
They would have wrecked him.
And Rubio, don't get me wrong, Rubio's nice, but he bounced around the league a little bit. He's he's a good guy coming off the bench, but.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we could start a little bit early because I see that we have Flat Earth Dave is in the building. So do we want to jump right into that? Is it good timing?
Good timing? I think it's a great timing. Guys in the chat, make sure to keep your questions coming and it's about to get crazy.
Is it about to get crazy? I don't know. Let's see.
Crazy. Open your minds and your hearts.
I've had the pleasure of sitting down and going having a one-on-one with Dave. Dave, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, but I'm you guys aren't coming through my headphones, which is pissing me off. Just give me a second, and I think I'm good now.
Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
Yes,
Mic
I'm
check.
good.
There we go. Now we're hot. Now we're hot.
Welcome.
I'm so critical. I'm so critical of other people and this quality of their sound and their camera, and then my shit fucks up all the time.
All right. I will warn you. We're on a. Be careful of the cussing. We're on a bit of a.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. We're on a little bit of a.
We've had our show downgraded to PG-13. We're no longer.
Recently, as of today,
we're now PG-13, so we can't say stuff now that we used to be able to say.
So I want to give everybody the backstory really quick. So when Fluent and Chill first started a while ago, one of the segments we used to do was called Conspiracies, and we would talk about anything, right? Did man land on the moon?
OJ did it.
Did OJ do it? Is Jimmy Butler Michael Jordan's son? Like whether it was sports or not, we talked about it. And one day we talked about the Earth being flat. I think it had to do with Kyrie Irving bringing it up, and someone, I don't know if it was Dave specifically, someone from Dave's Flat Earth Dave here called up, or I think we connected somehow on Instagram. And I said, yeah, let's do a one-on-one. And we did a whole interview. And I came back to Fluent and Chill the next week because Jay couldn't make it. And I said, man, he had a lot of really good points. I don't know if I'm fully there yet, but he had made a lot of good points. And Jay was like, come on, Tone. Come on, Tone. You kidding me, Tone? And so over the last year and a half or so, we've been saying, hey, we need to bring Dave back on for all of us. And so here he is, Flat Earth Dave. Tell us where everybody can find you, and then I'll let you go, Dave. We lost your audio.
Can't hear you, Dave.
Oh,
No, that's because I'm on mute. That's because I mute myself.
Oh,
I
I
always
was
do
just
that.
the government is coming down.
Okay, there we go. Now we're hot. Okay, now we're hot.
FlatEarthDave.com is where you can find everything. And we're starting tomorrow, March 17th and 18th, we're having a summit. It's a 2-day full summit with comedy, music, amazing presentations. If you think Flat Earth is stupid, I challenge anyone, come to the summit. It's virtual. It's online. You can watch it anytime you want. Watch it live, interact. And at the end of that, if you still think the earth is a globe and can supply me with one globe proof, I give you 3 Bitcoins. Okay? 3 Bitcoins, that's 75 grand today, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That was a much better deal when we first met.
It was.
it
was like 300 grand, right? Or no, 150 grand, 200 grand, something like that, whatever. But it's, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? It's probably going to go back up. So check it out. You can find everything at flatearthdave.com. That's it. So,
okay. So we're gonna have questions, but is there anything you want? Let me start there. Because you have a huge skeptic right here in the bottom right corner, and then a little one over here. I don't know about me. So Hailey, do you want to start with a question, Hailey, or do you want him to just take it away?
I think you should take it away, and then we'll grill or ask.
We'll grill.
I'll give you my elevator pitch. What flat Earth is and what it isn't. Right now, this is a balloon at 120,000 feet, about 20 miles up. And if you believe in the globe, you believe that as you move out tangent to your feet, the Earth is dropping away faster and faster. Kansas, they say, is one of the flattest places in the United States. It's just over 400 miles wide. Do you know how much curvature there is from one end of Kansas to the other? If you're standing on the border of Kansas and you drive to the other, you have to drop 20 miles. That's as high as this balloon. Kansas has as much curvature as there is from this balloon to the ground. Now, the reason your brain is going, I can't comprehend that, is because it's absolutely ridiculous. But according to globe math, that is a fact, right? So game over. Earth is flat, right? The other thing is, globe believers think that this is flat Earth. This is ridiculous. I would be ridiculing flat Earthers. I'd actually dedicate my life to ridicule flat Earthers if they thought this was flat Earth. Nobody thinks that we're a turnip floating in space.
Well, that's
Nobody
not real.
thinks. Yeah, no, that's not real. No one thinks that we're flat and other planets around. We don't even believe in planets, because when we get into that, planets, our consumer optics have outgrown their lives. You zoom in, and they're not what NASA shows you and what Disney shows you. They're energy balls of light here within, and when I say balls, I don't even know if they're balls. They're just points of light in the sky that are energetic.
So when I think about
when
I think about something flat, I think about a piece of paper. I think about a flat. I've driven through Kansas, by the way, and when you're talking about something flat, I mean, it's nothing but flat land going through.
We don't
Kansas.
live on a flat Earth. We live on a level horizontal plane with hills and valleys and canyons and whatnot. But the characteristics of water, large bodies of water, anything over a gallon of water at rest lay flat.
Right.
I say lays. I get people. It's lies. Whatever. But I hate that. It sounds weird. Water.
We're not going to worry about grammar. We're not going to worry about grammar.
Yeah,
there's so many grammar Nazis out there. It's incredible. So, if you believe that we live on a spinning ball, you don't even understand what you believe, because if you understood what you believe, you'd be a flat earther, right? This is what this is the heliocentric system. We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We're orbiting the Earth at 66,000 miles an hour, speeding up and slowing down, speeding up and slowing down. We're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour, traveling 4.5 billion miles a year, never to come back to where we were before. But somehow the stars never change. Never change. In all of history, none of the stars have ever moved. When you're driving down the road, there's a thing called parallax. You move, things change. Right. And the global argument is, they're so far away that there's no parallax. Billions and billions and trillions of miles and no parallax. OK,
I've never heard that. You're the only person who's ever told this part to me, that we're spinning through space going
This is the heliocentric model. They don't teach you this because if they did, half the kids in school that had half a brain would go, "This is baloney. This is not happening." And then they would question. Because
I've heard we spin on multiple axes and rotate, and the moon, revolves around the Earth, and we revolve around the sun. That's what I've heard. Not this part, though.
We're spinning and orbiting and chasing the sun, and then we have satellites that are falling around the Earth, somehow maintaining a geoposition over a specific piece of land, corkscrewing, matching all of these speeds, speeding up and slowing down, curved trajectories, not straight like in an airplane. Airplanes fly straight and level over the Earth plane. People go, well, you don't feel it because it's so big. When I'm on an airplane, I could drink water. Well, if you want to compare the airplane to the slowest motion of the Earth, which is the spin, you have to double the speed of the jet. You have to remove the outside of the jet because there's no outside above us on the globe. And you have to nosedive at a mile per minute, okay, just to follow the curve. And then let me know how your water's doing, right? None of that makes any sense. So let me just put it into perspective. This is the hypersonic sled track. It goes by a Mach 8.6. Watch it. You can Google this and find it on YouTube and hear the sound because the sound is shocking. Mach 8.6, 8.6 times the speed of sound, okay? You have to believe that we are orbiting the sun 10 times faster than that. You can't even fathom it. Worse, we're chasing the sun at 100 times faster than that, okay? And then when we go out into nature, we see this, okay? What does this tell you? What does your common sense and not nonsense tell you? That tells you that these bodies of water are not moving. Their basins are not moving.
They're just
we live, right. We live in what I call the Antarctic basin. Well, what is that? We live in a pond. Think of all of the world. Think all of the oceans as a pond. Shrink it down so we can make a model. We're in Kansas. We got a lake. Maybe it's 25, 50 miles around, whatever. And it's got islands. That's the whole world, we'll just say. All right. And why doesn't the water fall off the world? Well, it doesn't because there's a shoreline. The shoreline's higher than the water. Guess what? Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. Huh. Didn't know that. Didn't teach you that in school, did they? Okay. Well, that's what they tell us. Okay. And so Antarctica is the shoreline. The question is, what's out here? What's out beyond that shoreline? So you're on that lake. You're sailing around. You can go around the middle. If the North Pole's at the middle, you can go west or east all the way around. And you're circumnavigating the center, okay? Now, if you go south, which is any direction away from the center, all of a sudden you're going to get to the edge of your world. You're going to fall off into space, or you're going to step up onto the land in Kansas. Step up onto the land, you start walking, okay? What are you going to find? I don't know, mile away, you can't even see the lake anymore. Let's say you go, 10 miles, remember we got a small scale. All of a sudden, what if you found another lake? What if you found more water and more islands, more continents? Okay. That is a physical possibility. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying it's physically possible versus the impossibleness of outer space. Right.
So hold on.
Okay. Jay, hold on. Hailey, I'm going to start Hailey because Hailey hasn't said anything yet. And I think Hailey went from a 0 to maybe a 1 in her believability. But go ahead. Do you have a question, Hailey?
Yeah. Well, I have a million. This is really good. But the one thing is like when you say, oh, they didn't teach you this in school, like I guess the world's chasing the sun at this insane rate and all these things. Like that's one question I have. And two, I also wanted to clarify. So, and you might have shown it in an earlier slide. What is the shape then? Is it still a globe and we just live in like a little crevice of it? Or is it a, like Jay said, a piece of paper flat?
No, it's not neither of those, right?
It's so the little cone thing you showed us?
No. I look at it as the Earth is the basement of the universe. No other way to explain it. Nobody knows what's below, glober or flat earther, because the deepest hole is 7.8 miles. No one's been able to get farther than that. Okay. They hit an impenetrable barrier. Some weird stuff happened. They closed up the hole. Nobody can get farther than that. So nobody knows. Right. So if you look at that and compare it to, they tell us that this is the whole Earth. This meme is in every school book, right? They teach you this, right? But if the Earth was an apple, they drilled like a fraction of the way through the skin of the apple. And when they were drilling, they were wrong every step of the way. They were like, "Oh, no more rocks, no more water." They hit rocks, they hit water, right? So they're wrong. Then they hit something they couldn't get through, and they're like, "Oh, we know what the next 4,000 miles are," and they give us this meme. This is pseudoscience. This is nonsense. This is a molten magnetic core. I'm sorry, you can't have a molten magnet. Magnets lose their magnetism before they melt. Okay, so it's all just pseudoscience nonsense. But a guy in a bow tie in a lab coat tells you, and you believe it. Okay. And a failed comedian. That's who the people are trusting. It's absolute and complete and total nonsense.
Who's the failed comedian? Just for those that don't know,
that would be Bill Nye, the lying guy with the bow tie.
That's my guy.
That's your guy, Bill Nye.
That's my guy.
Did you know he was a comedian before he was a scientist?
Yeah. I've seen.
He wasn't. He's not a scientist. Yeah. He's just a comedian. He's not a scientist.
Oh,
he's not a scientist.
He's not Dr. Bill Nye. He's just Bill Nye.
Wait, the black dude with the bow tie?
No.
That's Neil deGrasse Tyson, the other failed actor. Okay, Neil deGrasse Tyson. We've been trying. We've got open letters to him. Everything. We want to have a conversation with him. He's like, we don't have time for flat earthers, but he has time to make video after video after video, gaslighting us and making false claims about flat Earth. Let me show you. I got to show you something real quick. I've been showing it a lot in interviews. This was a map that was found in a Buddhist temple. Google will tell you that it's fake, that it's from something else, because that's the only thing they can do. But it shows all of these other continents outside of our area. Okay, so what is this, right? So this is what happened. We were on a ship tracking site, and you can check out cargo ships all around the world, and we saw some ships that were hundreds of miles inside of the shoreline of Antarctica. We're like, how could a ship get all the way in there? And when you click on any of these ships, it gives you all the information, tells you where they're going, cargo, captain, everything about the ship, the type of ship, tons of stuff. We click on the one down here, and it just says 580 meters long, and it's registered on the island of Kiribati. Like, what? That's all it shows you? Where's Kiribati? Kiribati, you can't even see it. I put a pin on it. Let me find it. Oh, there it is. Okay, you zoom in. This is a sandbar. Okay, and this gigantic cargo ship is registered there. Now, the United States and China are saying Kiribati is a very important trade route. Very, very important. Okay. Why the heck is Kiribati so important? Why do they have a giant ship? Why are they heading towards Antarctica? And how the heck did they get inside of what supposedly is supposed to be shore and ice? Well, here's what I propose. Kiribati has a shipping lane to the outer lands, to where there's other civilizations, where there's advanced civilizations. Maybe that's where we're getting all these damn computer chips from, right? Because they didn't just make these things from the 1970s, right? These are coming from elsewhere. Maybe the real people that control our world are out here. Maybe there's other shipping lanes that we don't know about.
That's where you lose me. That's where you lose me, Dave. That's where you lose me.
Okay.
That's where you lose me. It's these outer people who control. That's where you lose me.
So you know what? Let's get off of that.
Let me ask you first. Let me ask you my question first. Let me ask you. So when I look up in the sky,
do you believe in aliens? Real quick, do you believe that aliens come from outer space?
Do I believe that aliens come from outer space?
You believe that there's aliens in outer space?
No, I don't.
You don't believe that there's other aliens. So you believe in this entire universe that we're the only place that life exists?
Yes.
Well, that's pretty egocentric of you, man.
I do not believe that.
Do you believe that? You believe that there's aliens?
There's definitely other stuff going on.
I don't know if they're the aliens we picture.
There's no way that we're the only we're the only life form going on in the universe. No.
I can't. If I'm the center of the universe, I can't believe that there's other living things up there.
Well, here's the thing.
Tone, just because you're. I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir, but Tone, just because you're the headliner, Tone, does not mean that there's not other acts in the show.
Yeah,
so you know.
Let me just open
your mind.
No, but let me ask my question first.
Go ahead.
All right. So when I look up in the sky, I see the moon.
Yeah.
And it's round. I don't need a telescope.
Is it round?
No. I see that it's round.
Are you 100% sure that
I'm
it's
round? 1,000% I see a round moon.
You see a round moon, but is it round? So let me ask you a question.
Wait,
is this moon? These are moons? How big are they? How far are they? And are they spherical? Yes, they're round. Are they spherical?
I'm just thinking to round.
No, you're saying you're looking at the moon. You're telling me it's round. And I'm going to show you that.
When I look at the moon,
I think I know where he's going.
When I look at the moon, I look at the moon, and let me finish my question. When I look at the moon, I see that it's round. When I look at the sun, I see that it's round. Yeah. And so, depending on the light, I can see a crescent moon. So I'm making an assumption that it's spherical because depending on where the light's hitting it from, I see different parts of the moon. So if those two are round, maybe not even, I won't even say spherical. If those two are round,
I need to stop you. I need to stop you before you make your point, because I'm going to show you that you cannot prove that they're round. Is this spherical? Is this one spherical?
Whoa, okay? You're asking two different questions. You're asking two different questions.
How's that two different questions?
It's a difference between spherical and round.
So round. Are you saying that the moon is spherical or round?
It's a circle.
Okay, so the moon, so the Earth is a circle too, and the definition of a circle is a line on a plane where every point on that line is equidistant from its center. Okay, so the Earth is a circle. The North Pole is at the center. Now, are you saying that the moon is a flat circle or a sphere? Because
I'm saying that it's a circle, and then based on certain angles that I see it from, I'm making an assumption that it's spherical because I see like a crescent moon and a half moon.
So hang on. So I just was quoting you. You said circle. I know you meant sphere. I said spherical, and then I was just objected that that's not what you said. So you are meaning that the moon is a sphere. Is this a sphere?
Yes, he is.
That's what he means. Is this one a sphere?
No, it is not.
Is it flat? Is it a cup? It's half. Oh, it's a half, just like the other one. How do you know it's a sphere? How do you know it's half? Because it's not. It's flat. Okay, it's completely flat. Is this one flat or a sphere? You must know because you can see it. You should know.
I got to see it from different angles.
So, so you can see the moon from different angles. How's that?
You can.
No, you can't. You could see the moon with different lighting patterns.
We can, but there have been people that have. And
no one has. How
are you? Are you? So are you saying that at 7?
So the moon is also flat.
I'm saying that the moon is a light in our sky, provably so, and it's not lit by a single source light, because a single source light leaves a hot spot on a sphere. When you light up a sphere, and it's a hot spot, and then it goes, and then it fades away. Okay. So when you look at our full moon, it's casting light so bright back at the Earth that it casts my shadow on the ground. How does a dusty ball 250,000 miles away reflect sunlight so well that it's able to cast a shadow and I'm able to read by it? Because we can't replicate that here on Earth. And when you cast a light,
because of the sun, that's why. Because of the sun.
No. But when you light something up with the sun,
the question is asking is how does a dusty ball reflect sun?
Yeah, how does it reflect it so bright that we can see it? Here's the thing that you guys don't understand. Every time you double the distance to a light, it's 1/4 of the brightness. Or every time you get halfway closer to a light, it's 4 times brighter. So if we're looking at the moon and it's 1 lumen, that full moon, 1 lumen, beautiful. We go halfway to the moon, it's 4 lumens. Halfway to that distance, it's 16 lumens. Halfway again, it's 64. By the time we get to 100 miles from the moon, it needs to be 60 times brighter than the sun for us to see it at 1 lumen here on Earth. That's according to science. Okay. So we are not seeing a dusty, dirty ball reflecting sunlight. Also, have you guys looked up and seen Jupiter in the sky recently? It's really bright. It's like the brightest star in the sky. It's like bigger than any star. Have you seen it? It's in our night sky. If you get a clear night, go out, and you'll see it in the sky. It's so friggin' bright. It's literally as bright as the sun, but it's just small. Okay, bigger than any star. So Jupiter, a gassy, non-reflective surface, way farther than we are from the sun. If you were on Jupiter, NASA says the sun would be almost as small as a star. So you have to believe that little starlight, our sun, is reflecting off of the non-reflective gassy surface, traveling all the way to the Earth, ignoring the inverse square law, and it's so bright we see it as bright as the sun. None of that works when you actually think about it. When you actually do the math, none of it works. None of it works. We couldn't see stars at the distance they tell us, not at a fraction of the distance.
But there's nothing. There's no other color. It's pitch black. So any light, it's like, I think any light's gonna shine.
It doesn't matter in light. So light travels. It spreads away. Get a match and hold it an inch from the wall, and it puts a nice bright light on the wall. Then move it 2 inches away, and 4 inches away, and 8 inches away. By the time you get a couple feet away, there's really not much light on the wall. Bring it across the room and you can't even notice the light on the wall because that light is spreading out. It doesn't go out like a laser beam, and a laser beam actually spreads out, but it spreads out and it's just spreading out, getting weaker and weaker and weaker and thinner and thinner and thinner. But we have to believe that it maintains its brightness. We have to believe, I don't know if you guys believe in the moon landings. Please say no. Please say no. You guys believe in the moon landing?
Jay does not.
Definitely.
Jay does not. Hailey does.
So, oh my God. So look at the astronauts on the light side of the moon. How is that not blowing out their camera when that light's bright enough here on Earth to cast my shadow on the ground? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
I want to get back on. I want to get back on what you said in the beginning about how
Let's pause that for a second because we have a couple of live super chats. So let me go through those quickly because they're specific to Dave. Some of them are just comments; they're not necessarily questions. You know why Earth isn't flat? Gravity. If the Earth was flat,
that's where I was getting.
That's what I wanted to say too. Why water doesn't move?
Right
How much time do we have?
How
much time do we have? How much time do we
have?
have?
I was about
if
to
you
ask.
can answer it in like 2 minutes, so I can get to the rest of them.
I got this one is the most important one of all. Okay.
Okay.
Gravity.
So
did you know that? Okay. Did you know that gravity is just a theory? Gravity is
no,
a theory.
it's not a theory. No, it is not.
It's
There's no way you're telling me that gravity is a theory. I understand Galileo. No, you're not telling me this. This is unbelievable.
I don't have to tell you. Go look it up.
Okay, we'll roll with it. We'll say.
Go ahead.
It's a theory. It's a theory.
Mainstream science says gravity is a theory. I don't have to tell you. Don't believe. And by the way, don't believe anything I say. Go verify the stuff. Gravity is a theory. Okay. This balloon, like that balloon, is hanging down. Why is it hanging down? Because of gravity, right? So if I tied a 10-pound weight onto this non-inflated balloon, it would stretch the rubber because that 10 pounds is pulling heavy on the balloon, right? So if I turn gravity up, would it stretch this balloon out? Maybe, right? It'd be stronger, and the balloon would be heavier, and the rubber would stretch. When we put air in it, just the air pressure alone is like, get me out of here. It's able to stretch the balloon. It's in every direction, including up and away from gravity, from the alleged gravity. So how does air pressure stay on Earth adjacent to a vacuum? Because nowhere in science, in nature, in a lab, anywhere, can you have high pressure gas next to low pressure or no pressure space and without a container, right? You can't have a tank of propane without the tank. Okay. You can't have high pressure next to low pressure. But I'm gonna prove to you that gravity doesn't exist. Gravity doesn't exist. Okay. So there is there's a thing called electrostatics. There is the ground is neutral, and then everything above the ground has a positive charge to it. Okay. If you look at the periodic table,
so the ground isn't. So hold on, before you go any further. So the ground, it's neutral. That means that it isn't either this or that. It's just there.
Is that what I'm understanding? Some people say it's a negative charge. Some people say it's neutral. It's not positive.
So it's just there, right? So it's just there.
Yes.
Is that fair? Because it's not anything. It's not this or it's not that. It's just there.
It's not positively charged. So that positive and negative. So you know that positive.
It's neutral.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand that part.
Without going into a whole science lesson, you're gonna have to look at this stuff up for yourself and verify it. There is a flow of electricity going from the sky down to the ground. Okay, everything is trying to get to the ground. That electrostatic force goes to the ground. So when I hold, this ball and I let it go, it falls down. One, because it's positively charged. The ground is neutral, and it goes towards the ground. Okay. The reason, if I drop this ball over the water, it would sit on top of the water. And then if I had rocks, they would drop, they'd go below the water. And if I had a helium balloon, it would go up. And all because of buoyancy and density. But down is down because of electrostatics. Now, how can we prove that? All right.
Right.
I can prove it. Here's a little experiment we did. Everyone knows, where am I? Here I go.
So the law of gravity is not a law.
No, it's not a law. It's a theory. So check this out. We have these balloons holding up. I got a little button here. And it's just a couple inches above the ground. And we have a wire going to what's called a Van der Graaf generator. And we're able to put a positive charge. Here we go. We're hitting it with a positive charge. And it goes down. Now, are we defying gravity? Are we increasing gravity? Or are we just increasing the attraction, the electrostatic traction, discharge? And it goes up. And if we do the opposite, Here's a tinfoil triangle. We put a negative charge into it, and it goes up. As long as we keep that negative charge in there, this is what I believe the secret space program does. They know how to fly things electrostatically. And how could I say such a wild thing like that? Because MIT just came out with this silent drone. It makes just a minor hum, no moving parts, and it flies. Why is it flying? Because it's negatively charged. They're changing the electrostatic charge. Does it change? Does it fly gravity?
Who is they? They who? Who is they?
This is MIT. MIT.
Okay.
MIT. Okay. So MIT is flying this around because they're changing electrostatic charge. Now let's pretend, and we really need to pretend, that gravity is real. Do you know that science says the electrostatic charge is 10 to the 39th power stronger? 10 to the 39th power. Now, I don't believe it, but this is what they say. 10 to the 39th power is a number that you can't even comprehend. Okay, because 10 to the 15th power is a trillion times stronger. Okay. And then 10 to the 39th is ridiculous. Okay. Right. So it's 10 to the 39th stronger than gravity. How the hell can anyone say that it's gravity to make something go down? The electrostatic force is observable, testable, repeatable, and it's right there. You can manipulate it. Gravity, no one has ever been able to manipulate gravity. No one can explain why a plumb bob next to Mount Everest doesn't point a little bit sideways. No one can. With all of this being said,
what is holding me down right now? Why have I not floated into space?
So the electrostatic force, well, there is no space. The electrostatic force is holding you down.
Okay, why have I not
hold
floated into
on.
oblivion?
I'm answering your question. During electrical storms, things have been observed to fall faster. Why? Because the area has been changed electrically. Yeah, that's why they fall faster. And when someone gets hit with lightning, why do they go flying in the air? Because it's charging the ground and changing it to a positive charge. And that's why things go flying in the air when they get struck by lightning. Okay.
All right. I got to jump
gravity,
in.
It's electrostatic.
Because we're running out of time. So I quickly want to go through. So Mars, who's one of our hosts of one of our other shows, the law of gravity states that the force between two objects is proportional to the product of their masses divided by the square of the distance times the gravitational constant.
That's a theory. It's a theory. They've never proved it.
What you have right now is a theory too. Why do I know that? No, it's because I was on a roller coaster. Okay, I was on a roller coaster. It's called the Hellhole on Coney Island. They put you in this thing and they spin you around, Tone, as fast as they possibly can. And the floor drops. What happens when the floor drops? The floor drops and you stick to the wall. You just told me about the earth spinning. So if the earth stops spinning,
the earth is not
spinning. Earth stops spinning. What is the earth doing exactly?
It's sitting still, just like nature shows you. It's sitting still. Absolutely. You're in the cyclone thing. That's called
you said we were following the sun. You said we were like chasing the sun.
No. That's what globbers say.
That's what globbers
say. What are we doing?
I'm going to show you.
You have the sun and moon revolving around us, correct?
This is we're looking straight down on the earth. The earth is like a big pond. The shoreline is Antarctica. The sun goes around once every 24 hours. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. That explains the time zones. The sun laps the moon once every 28 days. So the sun keeps track of the hours and the days. The moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. Then if I turn the stars on, the stars lap the sun once a year. So the stars keep track of the seasons and the years. The sun will drift back through each zodiac for about a month. And then everything resets. Go out tonight, take a picture of the stars at a certain time, put a note in your calendar to do the same thing, same place next year, same time, and every star will be in the exact same position.
That's
not next year.
That is impossible.
Next year. What about tomorrow? So if that's
tomorrow,
true, what about
slightly
tomorrow?
off. They're slightly off.
So why are they slightly off if we're not moving?
Let me explain. Look, the sun is here, so midnight would be over here. These stars are going a little bit faster than the sun. So in 30 days, they're going to be 15 degrees farther. That's why they're going to be different every night. But then they come all the way back around and reset. No matter what day of the year you take that picture, same day next year, 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, every star will be in the exact same position. It happens all the time.
So because we're running out of time, I'm going to try to go through these super chats quickly. So try to keep your answers short. I do apologize. Okay. So Angie Carr. Flat earthers tried to prove their theory by using a laser beam over a significant distance the beam would stay visible on target regardless of distance, proving the flatness of the Earth, but failed when the laser was not visible.
So what the bottom line is, they're talking about a Netflix hit piece that was completely edited out of order. In my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, if you hit debunking the debunkers, there's a full explanation of exactly what happens there. There's also in there a list called Flat Earth Experiments, where we've done laser experiments. We've done sun flashes, mirror flashes with the sun at ground level, and we could see them where they'd be hiding behind, a 10-story building. Of a
so you're saying that laser is part of this, behind the curve, or is this a different documentary?
But behind the curve is not a documentary. It's the behind the curve one?
No. Can you explain the one that she had brought up
mirror?
About
the laser. Because
I'm sure people ask you that because it's pretty.
Yeah. So the experiment was to take a laser, level it on a canal, and run it through 3 mile separated holes in a big piece of wood, right? In a big piece of plywood. And if the Earth is curved, there's no way that they go through all 3. But the problem was when we're using the laser, the condenser, because lasers spread out, melted. So we couldn't use the laser. So now we're just experimenting at night. We don't know what's going on. We're holding the light. We can't see the light. And we tell the guy to hold the light up. All of a sudden we can see it. And we're like, oh, that's interesting. The problem is if the Earth was curved, he'd have to hold it up 27 feet for us to see it. But he held it up 3 feet over his head. We could see it. Then he brought it back down. We could see it again. And that would kind of, to all of us, prove the Earth is flat. But we didn't even claim that. We go, there's too many variables. We're not going to claim anything. But the movie edited it because they put it out there and they made it so everyone that might think about flat Earth ends up seeing that movie and go, oh, those flat Earthers, that's the best proof a Glober has that a flat Earther proved it's flat. Absolutely not. If you go into the app, in the web page there, go to the experiments. We've done tons of them. Mirror flashes of the sun, and you can see the sun. It should be behind 10 stories of water. Can't happen. Next.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll make them shorter.
No. You're doing great. You're doing great. If the globe was spinning as fast as they say, the centrifugal force, I hope I said that right, would cause continents to move from the poles to the center. The Earth is flat.
Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson says because of the spin of the Earth, the water bulges 14 miles high at the equator because of the centrifugal force.
He does say that. I've heard him say that, yes.
So that's the coolest thing. Now think about this. If you're flying in North America and you go up to cruising altitude about 5 miles and you're going to fly to Ecuador, at what point do you triple your altitude to 90,000 feet just to skim over that hump? 14 miles high, you only fly 5 miles high. So when you fly to Ecuador, you have to triple your height so the belly of the plane will skim over that hump. I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense. Nowhere down on the equator does the plumb bob not go plumb to water at rest. Nowhere.
I don't know. That just went right over my head. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that one I saw because I saw Neil deGrasse. Neil deGrasse says if you look at the globe, this one I've seen, it bulges out the water. It actually isn't a globe; it kicks out here and it goes higher.
Yeah, but
so
it can't.
If you're flying over it, you have to
14 miles high.
Fly higher.
But we don't run by that. Most people don't run by that theory.
Rufus Elder chimed in and said the best proof is in the Bible. Yeah, created it, and he said it's flat and has 4 corners.
And here's
like
the
paper,
thing.
like
the
paper,
Bible,
basically.
Well, God. But verse 1 in Genesis said, God separated the waters from the waters and created the firmament, right? And then described a circle on the earth. A circle is a line on a plane that is equidistant. All points are equidistant from its center. On the web button again, if you scroll down just a little bit, there's biblical flat earth, mind-blowing stuff. Now, if you're a Bible believer or a Bible not believer, watch these. It'll change your life. This is amazing stuff in here, right? All of this stuff, again, is hidden. Why is Google hiding it? You Google flat earth on YouTube, you're going to get the same list of videos. You Google, hey, David Weiss, flat earth proof. Down, you get a list of videos. You Google horizon proof on a flat earth.
Well, it's clearly not hidden because you got it. It's clearly not hidden.
It's going to be, you're going to be the same. It's going to be the same videos no matter what you search for, as long as it says flat earth.
Google, I will admit, Google does hide stuff. They don't want, they will do that.
Yeah, that's so. Can you just? I have more super chats, but can you quickly, because there is the one that I really liked that I want Jay and Hailey to see is the flight pattern one, where you show the plane flying from one place to another and it has to take an emergency landing, but instead of going here, it goes over there. Do remember that one?
So there's a bunch. Emergency landings are absolute proof that we live on a flat plane, or at least that they're lying about where we're flying. Here's one from New York to Hawaii, and emergency happened right here, and they went all the way to Seattle, and they got there in like 15 minutes.
Trade winds.
Right.
Trade
Right?
winds.
No.
Why.
They're here, and they got to Seattle in 15 minutes, over 1,000 miles. But if you look at it, Seattle is right on the line of exactly where they're going. Right? Here's another one. This one, they went to Dallas to Beijing. They went to Calgary, like 1,500 miles out of the way. But if you look at it, Calgary is on the same route that if we were going, if we were going, on a flat Earth. Let me show you two more, and this is going to get you. This was an emergency landing. This was the World Cup. You guys are into sports, right? They had it in Doha, and then when they left, they went to Rome to refuel. They didn't need to pick up anybody. They had their own flight, chartered flight. They went to Rome to refuel, and then they flew to Buenos Aires. Well, Doha to Buenos Aires versus Rome to Buenos Aires is about the same distance. So why did they go out of their way to get more fuel? Because on a flat Earth, they went here because they can't fuel up here in the middle of the ocean. Wait, another emergency landing. This is a good one. This one is from New York to Auckland, New Zealand. Right here, they had an emergency. They went to Fiji. What the hell did they go to Fiji for? That is way out of the way when they could have just kept going here. And the answer is because on a flat Earth, Fiji is right there, right on line, not over here, right here, right? Here's Fiji. Boom, Fiji, New Zealand. And then one more, because this one, maybe it'll shake somebody awake. This plane is going from Hong Kong. They were going to the UK. They ended up stopping in Germany because 4 hours into this 12-hour flight, a mother died. She's with her little kids, her husband. They're all sitting together. Mother's dead. They can't revive her. She's dead. Okay? So you got to land a plane. Well, guess what? There's probably 100 different airports they could have stopped at, but they didn't stop for 8 hours. 8 hours. What the hell is going on? And the answer is because this is the flight route, and they were over Russia. They can't land in Russia because Russia would probably be the good guys and help. And two, what the hell are they doing flying over Russia? I thought we weren't even allowed to fly over Russia. This is where they were. Okay, that's why they had to land in Frankfurt. Okay, emergency landings 100% prove the Earth is flat. And don't believe me, you can find this book, 16 Emergency Landings, online. It's a free PDF, or you can order it from lulu.com. It's a great coffee table book. It's all documented for you. All the work has been done for you. Don't believe me. Don't believe what's in the book. Go look at it. Look at the footnotes.
I don't believe a word of this. I don't.
Right, so I don't believe a word of this.
I don't.
You don't believe the word of
But
this. Give me
this
the
dude is
best
telling
proof
me
that we live on a globe. Give me the best proof we live on a globe, other than it looks like a basketball.
You didn't give me any proof that we don't. You didn't.
You
didn't give
We
me
can
any.
see too far. Okay, here.
You didn't give me
tell
any
you what,
proof that we don't.
Hold on, let me
Let's
just
play. Let's play a quick game. Let's play a quick game.
Okay.
I'll give one proof, and then you give another proof. Okay. So on a ball, right? This is a spot in the Lilliard, France. We're looking at 175 miles away is Mount Canigou. According to Globe Math, and you could check it out yourself, you can't see Mount Canigou because the top of it is almost a mile below the curve. Okay. So, and you can't see it. So you can't see it, right? Because the light that's bouncing off of Mount Canigou can't make it to your eyes. Glober would say, no, it's because it's over the curve. But twice a year, when the sun migrates in between the tropics, twice a year, it lines up with Mount Canigou and the viewer. And when it does, all of a sudden, it starts backlighting it. It moves and it backlights it, and you can see the mountain. The top of this mountain should be almost a mile below the curve. Now, if the Earth was still a ball,
The reason
it would have
why. Keep going. I'm sorry. Keep going.
You're going to say the reason why is because this is over the curve and it's refracting up and magically stopping at eye level. All right, why can you see it?
Why can't you see it? Is because the Earth is moving. That's why.
What do you
That's
mean
why the
the
sun
Earth is moving?
Because the Earth is moving.
You're on the Earth. You're moving with it. You're in the same reference frame. How would the Earth moving mean that I can't see it? How come I can see it? You're just throwing words out that mean nothing right now.
And this is what you're telling me. This is what you're telling me. You're telling me.
I'm telling you. Look.
I'm sorry.
Use your eyes. Use your eyes.
I'm using my eyes.
You can see this mountain.
Wait,
you can see the mountain.
Haley has a question. Go ahead, Haley. Go ahead, Haley.
It's on this topic because I just want to understand that I'm getting it right. So this mountain, Mount whatever, Montagu or whatever. So this mountain is there, Mount Canigou, and you can only see it two times
twice a year.
That's it.
Right, because the sun has to backlight it. That's why.
Right.
Because you
like
can't see
if it was setting, if it's setting, but I guess I just need to do some research into.
Yes,
like,
do. You said you were doing research before the show. I'm very disappointed, Haley. Here's my big question.
I'm just curious.
And a couple of people have asked this question as well. So Angie Carr asked it, so I'll give her the credit for it. If what you're saying is true, what is your opinion on why this information would be suppressed from the public? Why are they telling us
question.
Why are they telling us that we revolve around the sun, and why create this whole solar system of lies?
Right. The soul lure system. So let's talk about that. But first, let me give you an analogy. You walk into a room and there's slaughtered bodies all over the place, blood on the walls. It's just disgusting, right? You walk around and you don't go, why? I can't think of a motive. Therefore, it didn't happen. You're looking at the evidence. We have more evidence than all of those dead bodies in the room. You have only seen a tiny fraction of it. But why the lie? So now you got all the evidence. We could speculate about the lie, and it's very easy. Because if you knew that you weren't on a speck flying through an infinite universe where an asteroid could take us out, where we're running out of food, we have global warming, we're running out of fuel, we're running out of space, we're afraid of nuclear bombs. If you knew that all of that was fake and that you were at the center of creation and that you are a powerful being, that nobody has control over you other than in your imagination, if you knew that there's abundance, that there's more beyond, that we're limited, they put us in a circle 60 degrees south. No one's allowed to go farther than that. If you knew that there was more, then you would be uncontrollable, right? They want us in control. They want to depopulate
Who is they? Who is they?
So the ones that we know, those are the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the royal
the money
families.
People. That's what you're saying.
No. Hold on. I believe those are just the puppets from the real controllers. During the election, John Kerry went down to Antarctica, disappeared for 3 days, and then all of a sudden came back. Right? All of these world officials, they all go to Antarctica. You can see, you can track them. They go there to what's called South Pole Station. Then they disappear for 3 days, and then they show back up at South Pole Station. Where are they going? Okay. And you say, I talk about more land. I think there's more land inside of our pond before we get to Antarctica because, they just discovered 7,000 new islands around Japan. Think about
7,000 in the country of Japan.
I've never heard of this.
Look it up right now.
In the country of Japan.
Haley, can you look it up? Haley, can you look it up? Because I do want to get to these super chats.
So
I want to get to these super chats. But I do have one other question because there was another. This is totally off topic. Just quickly, because there was one that I heard. Birds aren't real. Do you have any?
Yeah. That's what they want you to think. Flat earthers think that's ridiculous. Birds are real. Okay.
No, there's this thing. Birds are real. They're all just government spies.
They make up stuff. These are called straw mans. Flat earthers think birds aren't real. Flat earthers think that Australia isn't real. Flat earthers, tried to jump a canyon in a steam-powered rocket to prove the earth is flat and ended up killing himself. None of that's true. It's all what the mainstream media wants you to think.
Okay, so let me get to these super chats while Haley looks up the 7,000 islands. According to the science, Newtonian physics is wrong, and they opt more towards Einstein's version of physics.
Right. So gravity, Newtonian gravity has been thrown out, and now they're on Einsteinian, not on the bending, curling, bending of space time, which is just ridiculous. Because how do you have something bent in space? Why doesn't it bend in every direction? Why is it bent in one direction? None of that makes any sense. And the entire theory of relativity has been disproven and thrown out, but they haven't replaced it with anything. Therefore, they still teach it in school. They still teach it as real, even though the scientists have thrown it out because they haven't replaced it.
So we thought the Earth was flat. They went exploring, came back, and said, "Whoa, we're going to create this globe."
So actually, Admiral Byrd went out to Antarctica in the 1950s, and he said he discovered more land.
I don't know what you have there, but I love this technology, this background. I got to get this. See how he has his phone and can pull stuff up?
So
that's
Admiral Byrd went out and said there's more land bigger than Antarctica, bigger than the United States, filled with resources that no human has ever stepped foot upon, right? And then all of a sudden they said, okay, nobody can go to Antarctica. All of the countries in the world fighting over resources, fighting over land, fighting over everything. They all say, oh, there's land bigger than the United States that nobody lives on, filled with resources. Okay, nobody can go there. And they put up this 60 degrees south barrier, and no one's allowed to go there. And you say, well, how would they guard all that? How would they guard all that? And the way they do it is they have military bases all around. There's 8 of them. 8 of them. They're all UN, Crown, run military bases, and nobody is allowed to go explore past 60 degrees south. Okay.
We got to get to some basketball, but let me just make sure I got all the super chats for Dave. Give me 1 second to double check that.
And speaking of the islands, he's right, actually, that they were discovered. They're saying that I guess the technology that they had used to, geospatial technology, they accounted for these islands before were wrong. And so they've recounted, and there's like a lot more islands.
There's a lot more islands. Okay, so look at that.
Let me just throw one thing out.
Go ahead.
For people, flatearthdave.com. That's where you can find my app. It's $3. It's incredible. It's the best resource you have with the Google censorship. Come to the conference. You can find it on the app. You can find it on flatearthdave.com. And anybody that can, if you think I'm crazy, give me one proof you live on a globe, right? One proof. You can't, right? And you win 3 Bitcoins or 3,000 ounces of silver. Either one, okay? Bitcoins are easy because I could just send them over the internet.
Angie Carr says, chill about, that's Jay, about to blow a gasket. Go watch Curry play, then tell me there's no gravity. That is a very, very basketball centric.
Go ask Kyrie if the earth is flat. He knows. He had to walk back.
Kyrie knows. Have you talked to him before?
No, we want to. Hook us up. We've been tweeting at him and reaching at him, but he knows. But he walked it back because he's going to lose all his sponsors, right? The big corporate.
Really?
Well, absolutely.
Yeah. Ross says that you're on something. Gravity is real. Explain Michael Jordan. He defies gravity.
We're electrical beings. We're light beings. Everything is electrostatic. Everything has electric charge to it. Everything. Without it, we're dead. Okay. Our hearts are electric. Our hearts don't pump blood. They electrify it and they send it through our body. With a charge. Okay.
I do believe that 85% of the stars are binary. It's more like that we
do you have any proof of that? Okay. You have no proof of that.
I'm just going through these. Right. Yeah, bro. I'm from the distant lands where we make computer chips. He's spitting facts. Chase Ritter says it. He's spitting facts. Angie Carr does not want any Bill Nye slander. So just be aware of that. We got two more. Fluent. If the Earth is a globe, explain how gravity keeps water surrounding Australia. You get flies, birds, and planes can freely fly through the sky. They're not pulled down by the same force holding down the water.
Let me ask you a gravity question. I got my hand here, and let's say I have a 5-pound metal frying pan, and I want to hold it against my hand. How much pressure would I need to hold that frying pan to my hand? A 5-pound frying pan. Would I need 3 pounds of pressure or more than 5 pounds to hold it up?
So essentially what you're saying is as humans, we are not.
Answer me this question.
No. I'm going back to what you I'm going back to what you
let me go whatever you want, but let me make my point. To hold a 5-pound frying pan to my hand, underside of my hand, I need 5 pounds of pressure or more. So 5 pounds of pressure. So on the bottom of the globe, we have trillions of tons of water. How much pressure do you need to hold that to the globe?
What does that have to do with you just saying that we basically run on batteries? That's basically what you're saying.
We're all electrical.
Right. So we basically are. And what's charging? And for something to be electrical, there has to be a charge. Is that correct? There has to be some sort of source. There has to be some sort of source.
Electricity is coming down through the air. It's measurable. Do any of you guys have a drone? Get your drone and get a thin copper wire spool and run it out. Let the drone go up as high as you can, and then touch that wire and tell me you don't get electrocuted. There's electricity in the air, free energy. They're hiding free energy. They're hiding more resources. They're hiding more land. They're hiding the creator. They're hiding technology. They're hiding cures for cancer. They're hiding everything. They're trying to keep us sick and down and scared and weak.
I believe the cancer thing.
This is what kills me, Dave. You say stuff that I'm like, oh, I agree with that. And that's why I'm like, well, I agree with that, but I don't necessarily agree with the other
But you guys are too attached to your ball. You don't want to let go of your ball. Give me a globe proof right now, and I'll give you 3 Bitcoins. One globe proof.
I've seen a picture of it.
You seen a picture of it?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I seen a picture of a dinosaur. Does that make dinosaurs real?
Yes, dinosaurs were real.
Oh my Lord! Oh my God! So is this the picture you saw?
Dinosaurs were real.
Look at the United States. This is the United States. This is a image from NASA. So here's the same amount of land. All of this land is on the other side of that ball. Okay, all of that land is on the other side of the ball. Are you kidding me? Look at this one. If we measure from Mexico to Baja, we know how far this is. We know it's 934 miles. We could actually measure it. Not like the moon. This is something we can measure. Well, they tell us the diameter of the Earth is 7,917. So I should be able to fit 8.5 of these between these two lines. This is a painting. This is what you saw. This is your proof that we live on a globe, something that doesn't even work. Where's the rest of the continents? Look at America. Okay? Use your God-given common sense and stop believing nonsense because it was told to you. You've been brainwashed your entire life, just like I was, but I was able to break it and say, okay, let me prove the globe. And I even went into this to prove the globe and disprove flat Earth, right? And that's how I ended up here, all right? So when you stop and look and say, you know, your best proof right now is photos of Earth. You know, the anti-flat earthers are laughing. They're like, oh my God, this is horrible, right? Which one do you like the best? Because these are all from NASA, okay? Which one do you like the best, right? I like the blue marble.
Top
right?
left.
I
Top
like the
left
blue
is my
marble.
favorite.
Yeah, that's your favorite. But these are all from NASA, okay? These are all from NASA, okay? These are all from NASA. Are you kidding me, right? And then if you want to look, this is the one that you like, right? But if you zoom in on this, if you zoom in and look, you can see that it's Photoshop because they are lazy. They use the same clouds again and again and again and again and again. And there's a guy, Robert Simon, who works for NASA as a visual artist, and he says he created it in Photoshop. That's his exact words. He created in Photoshop from data that they gave him. He made this greener because there's more algae, and he made this browner because there's less vegetation. And he made it for the way that people want to think that it looks. None of it is true.
FlatEarthDave.com. We are going to end it on this. I don't know if you have any thoughts on it, but they are asking you. Yeah. So
what happened?
Where's your globe proof? Where's your globe proof? You said photos. We took care of that. Okay. Where's your globe proof? And here's the thing. Go home tonight. Think about it. What's your globe proof? And when you can't come up with one, take the Flat Earth app challenge. Get the app. Every day there's a new video right here that Google's hiding from you. Watch the video each day. Right? And if after 2 weeks, if you can come up with one globe proof, send it and you win 3 Bitcoins. But before you
I'm a huge fan of conspiracy theories.
This is not a conspiracy theory.
We are.
Here are the frequently asked questions. Frequently asked questions. All of them are answered. What about eclipses? Why the lie?
I'm putting out the challenge.
Why the lie? This is the one that you want to hit. Why the lie?
I'm putting out the challenge to everyone in the chat. If you guys want to team up, if you want to do it on your own, if you can come up with a globe proof, send it to us. We're going to get it to Dave and get you.
I'm going to make it even better. Whoever comes up, one of your audience members comes up with a globe proof, they get 3 Bitcoins, and you guys get 3 Bitcoins too.
That's it. Now we're talking.
Okay, that is the first time I've offered that special for you guys because you guys love balls. All right, you love balls, bouncy balls. All right.
Pause.
You guys are awesome. I love you guys, but you're really dumb on this topic.
Hey. Yeah,
we
need to do more research, Dave. Man, I really appreciate
it. Use the app to do the research. It's called the Flat Earth.
We're going to use the app. I heard flat earthers on the app have met each other and actually gotten married off that app. So if you're single,
it's unbelievable. It's actually you can look at all the people around you and you can send messages, you can communicate, you can look at their profiles. But I'm pulling up the world map just to show you that we're not nothing. Let this load. Here we go. This is the United States. Look, these are the people that have the app, and that's only like 1% of the flat earthers. Look at this. Look at this. Right? Look at the UK.
Can you pull up Jupiter, Florida? Because I want so we chill.
You want to see Jupiter, Florida?
Actually, pull up Jupiter, Florida. Chill.
Yeah. Look.
Check out all the flat earthers in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. These are all flat earthers, okay? Right? These are all flat earthers.
I don't pretend to know. I don't pretend to know anything about. I don't pretend to know everything about everything. And
hey, listen,
I am a huge conspiracy theorist. I dig conspiracy theories. But
you know what?
I'm sorry.
I got to tell you a story. I had a show called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole.
We're way over time. Way over time.
I had a show called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. We looked into all conspiracies. When Flat Earth came up, I refused to look. And then when I looked, I'm like, wow, this is the real one. This is the one that changes everything. This is the one that changes your life. You still haven't come up with a globe proof. I've showed you several flat earth proofs. I have tons more. I just need one globe proof from you.
We're gonna come back. Hey, get your six Bitcoin ready. Thank you, Dave.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, Dave,
brother.
All right. I hope whatever team you want wins. See ya.
Yeah. Woo-wee. That was fun.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, he's passionate about it for sure. I'm just upset that he said planets aren't real, and I didn't get to ask him about Pluto.
Best show ever. Oh, you forgot to ask him about Pluto. I'll send him a message and ask him about Pluto for you.
I couldn't take it honestly, but he was great. He was. I mean, he's passionate about it. Jay, you good?
You get sucked into this sort of stuff, right? This is what happens when you get sucked into this sort of stuff, and you hear it enough, you start thinking it, and you're like, well, wait a minute. There's one thing to change your perspective on something. It's one thing when you, but then there's something completely different when you go from here to here to here to here, then back here, and then here to here to here, then back here, and now your brain. That's the idea, to scramble your brain. That's completely the idea, to scramble your brain. Yeah. And that's what and that's kind of what was going on. That's sort of kind of what was going on. I'm good.
I would say this, and this is what I always say, because he does it and listen, he clearly believes it. But people do this. I'm going to bring it back to sports. People do this where, because it happens to me on TikTok all the time, where someone like sees something I post and they'll combat it by saying one thing that's true and then their lie. And because they start with a truth, people are like, oh, I'm going to believe everything they say now. And that's where, when I told you when I had the one-on-one, where it was like, well, he said this. And I'm like, well, yeah, I believe that. Okay, yeah, that's true. Okay, that's true. And then he hits you with the, the outer limits and the other civilizations. That's where he loses me. But I thought that was fantastic. So this is an episode about super chats. So we're going to dive into the super chats. The chat is going insane, which I love. You guys. It was a good,
I mean, our views actually went up. So shout out to Dave. He kept everybody entertained for sure.
Hey, shout out to, I don't know if he should be in bed. This is to Ara. Ara Mateus is watching. Dude, it's 10:30 my time. Mateus is 10. Send him to bed. It's one of my players. Mateus is one of the players on the GTA Mavericks. Send him to bed, Ara. All right, so let's hit up the super chats. Unless you guys, is there something else you want to before we go through the super chats? It's a super chat show, so
how do we just change?
How do we go from that? Listen, I'll start with some of the super chats that were left over for Dave.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna go running. I'll be right back, you guys.
Okay, you go look up how many. See the 7,000 islands in Japan. Where it's real. Planets are stars. Look at etymology. Double P is a believer. Double P
he is on the hook. He's definitely
on the hook. He's on the hook.
No doubt about it.
Chase Richter. God bless Chill for the restraint. And we got to get Fluent the phone live stream technology he was using. Yes. I don't know what he was using. Wasn't that cool how he was doing it on his phone and it was showing up in the background? That was fire. I got to get that. I got a blank wall here. I can change the angle. We can definitely do that. Hunter, I'm assuming that's thought. Gen Z were the uneducated ones. This guy making teenagers look like rocket scientists trying to defy basic common knowledge.
I'm stuck. I'm still stuck on. We basically we run on batteries. That's what I'm true. That's what I'm stuck on.
But that's the one true thing he said. We are, if you think about it, the brain sends electrical currents throughout your body, and when you get pain, that's an electrical current. That part is true, and I'm not just talking about the Matrix that they're harvesting our bodies for energy. That part is true. We are like batteries that we do have electrical currents running through us, and that's what sends from our brain waves. Like when you move your finger, that's an electrical current from your brain going to your finger saying move. And then when you stub your toe, that's the pain is an electrical current that goes up to your brain that says pain.
Then where does that electrical current come from? That electrical current comes from your nerves in your body.
That's right, from the nerves in your body. Absolutely.
That's not electrical, though, Tone.
It's the easiest way to explain.
I can't handle it, Tone. I'm trying to handle it. And you know me, you and I, we've had conspiracy theorist talks all the time, and I am a very open-minded person, right? I
tried to suck him into that bird's not real one.
I'm very open-minded, but I'm sorry, Dave. That's 45 minutes out of my life I'm never getting back.
Come on, you didn't find that insightful?
I'm never getting that. I'm never getting that 45 minutes back in my life.
I thought that was a great use of time. I thought that was a great use of time. Hey, you know what? It's 316 day. Because Stone Cold said so. Not 1 beer, not 2 beers, not 3 beers, not 4 beers. That's how many they've had. Maybe 5. Who got suspended from PC? I saw the announcement. I don't know. But we are going to try to be better. Chill cooking. What are you cooking? What'd you have for dinner?
I'm not. I actually had some wheat pasta and some soy. It was pretty good too.
You still haven't come up with that vegan cookbook yet.
Yes, I gave the recipe to my man who was in the chat that day.
You did? You gave it to him? Okay.
I gave it to him.
All right, but I want to make a vegan cookbook. I'm going to publish it and put it on Amazon for you.
Let's talk to Cal Broski because here's a guy in our chat. Cal Broski is in our chat. Cooked chill so bad. See, understand something, my man.
Did you? I did not see that.
We don't know. We don't know everything, right? We don't know everything here, and because we don't know everything, when we get educated about something, we are intrigued. But as people, we also recognize nonsense, and I recognize nonsense also. So when I hear something that doesn't make sense to me, doesn't mean that I'm getting cooked. It means that I don't get it. And it doesn't mean that I'm not that smart. It means that what you're talking about doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, we should be asking questions.
Just so we know, I've never been cooked. I either make you more fluent or you make...
Now you're more fluent.
Or you make me more fluent. That's it. That's it.
I just, where I have it's frustrating because like you said, Jay, like I don't know science like that, unfortunately. So I can't debate, but I know...
You were researching.
I did a little, but I didn't get really to ask. It's hard to debate with somebody who, like, if you're going to prove a point, you have to prove it, let me respond, and then we go back and forth to get to some type of understanding versus like what Jay said, just like that. There's no conversation.
I'm just saying, if this was one of those debates, like if this was Black Friday, we all would have lost. We did not come prepared.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. He had the better point. Because what's your point? What is your point that the earth is round? I'm like, because I saw a picture. Like, that's it. That's all I got. I got nothing.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
And in a debate, because I said so does not work.
No. Yeah. It's because I said so. That doesn't work.
Hey, it was interesting. Like there are a few points that like the island thing. That's cool. I didn't know that, and it's right on point. So
and that's why I said you still can learn some stuff, even if you don't agree with the over kind of arching. This is it.
Yeah.
There's still stuff that you're like, because you look it up and you're like, oh, that's true. I did not know that. Like I didn't know they found a bunch of islands. So yeah,
I did not know that neither. That sounded super wild.
That's what I'm saying. In the
crazy Kaiser. Says fluent of winning and chill ticket TV. But do you guys think Luka will win an MVP? I like how that kind of rhymed in the next 2 to 3 years. And if not, how long until you guys think he does?
He's gonna have to get on a better team. I'm sorry if I don't answer your question. I gotta walk it back and I gotta get myself back focused.
Right. Do you need to take a break? I can.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Go get
Hailey had to walk away and like slap herself inside the face.
I get like tension headaches, and for some reason, every Thursday when we have like I have the light in my eyes for long, like it like gives me like it's just bad. It's really bad. So I have to, like,
every time I'm on this show, I get one.
No, it's not from that. It's from like the light, I think. But no, I agree. I don't think so. I'm gonna say no, not well. We see, these superstars that are still in the league, whether it's Jokic, Luka, Jokic, KD, Steph. Like there's better teams built around better players until Luka gets help. And Kyrie is actually, I wanted to ask you guys, the dude's on strike again with the foot injury. What are we doing here? It's been a few weeks.
Let me answer this question first, and then you can. It's because he fell off the end of the earth. I think Luka actually does win an MVP in the next 2 to 3 years, and the reason why I think he wins one is I think what they're doing this year, where they're gonna in the offseason, they're gonna vote and implement a minimum games requirement to win that award. And once they do that, I think they're going to make other changes, like certain criteria things. And I think they're going to get away. And I don't like this, but I think they're going to get away from team record. And we saw it last year, the year before, when Jokic was on the 6th place team. We saw it when when it was a
when Russ was on the sixth place team.
Russ was on a sixth place team.
Right.
Well, we're starting, and the narrative is starting to change that, hey, my team might be sixth, but if I wasn't there, they'd be dead last. That is of value. That is of value. So I think that is starting, the criteria is going to start to be defined. And I also think the amount of 7-footers in this world isn't a lot. And we've had a bunch of big men winning it. And I feel like there's a trend's going to shift in the next year or two, and they're going to start putting in a couple of guards. Whether it's just been, hey, we've had a big man in the last 5 years, so let's pick a guard. I feel like the media does that sometimes. Like, you see a lot of defensive player of the years. It's like center. It's like, yeah, let's throw in a guard, right? Marcus Smart. Was Marcus Smart the best defensive player last year? Like, I don't think he was. So
I think the defensive player of the year is very. I think the defensive player of the year is very similar to the league MVP, where the best defender in the league doesn't always win it.
Right.
Just like the best player in the NBA doesn't always win it. And if you're gonna start to devalue winning, right? If you're gonna start to devalue winning, then now what we have to do is we got to take MVP off, because you're not more valuable to your team's success than a guy who's on a better team, or a guy who's have more success on just as good a team as you. So now we got to take MVP out. Now we got to start saying stuff like most outstanding player, because it's not the most valuable to your team's success. And the reason why I stand on this is because I watched Michael Jordan in the 88-89 season, which I thought he had a better season than the year before when he won the league MVP and he was the defensive player of the year. He shot his highest field goal percentage that season. He never averaged that many assists. He never averaged that many rebounds again in his career. That team finished in 6th place. He took that team to the Eastern Conference Championship. That team finished in 6th place. He didn't sniff the league MVP that year. He didn't sniff it. Magic won it going away. And the reason why Magic won it going away is because the Los Angeles Lakers was at the top of the, not at the top of the Western Conference. They had the best record in the NBA. So if we're going to take winning out, and if we're going to start to devalue winning, then we got to take MVP off, because you can't sell me that a guy who's 33-8-8, he's basically, he was the defensive player of the year before. He averaged the same amount of steals. He was a little less in blocks, just a little bit less in blocks. He had a second-year Scottie Pippen, a second-year he had a second-year Scottie Pippen. He had a second-year Horace Grant, and Charles Oakley was gone, and that team dropped to 6. Not only did that team drop to 6, the Eastern Conference was a nightmare. He didn't sniff the league MVP. Meanwhile, I got to watch Russell Westbrook, and I got to watch Joker win the league MVP at the 6th spot. So if we're going to do that, then we got to take the word MVP out, and we got to put in most outstanding player.
Now you're more fluent.
Facts.
Angie Carr, Fluent, you switch up your speech. I've heard you say Batiam Bench a couple of episodes ago. I'm West Indian and I know Caribbean vernacular when I hear it. But do you know that I grew up in a Jamaican kitchen where I spent about 10 hours a day, and every single one of my friends in high school was Jamaican and from the West Indies. And so that vernacular, as you say, is embedded in me from the time I was 4 years old. My mother worked in a kitchen at a retirement home. She was the one Greek lady in that kitchen, and the rest were Jamaican and West Indian women. So as I was learning to speak, they were speaking to me. So what did I do? I mimicked the people that were speaking to me, just like people who were born in the US have an accent from their parents, even though they maybe have never been to that country. Same type of thing. So that is a term that I've always used since I was a young little fluent. And so that's why it's part of my speech. So yes, that is where you might hear some of those weird accents, because there'll be a Greek come out, there'll be an Italian that'll come out, there'll be a Jamaican that'll come out, an Indian that'll come out. My best friend all through high school for 20 years was Jamaican Guyanese. And so I'm at his house eating, curry goat and oxtail, and you conversate and you hear the language enough. Hey, that's why I say that when two people are very close, I say they're like Batiam Bench. That is what we say.
Aha.
Well, thank you, Angie. There you go. Now you know why. Let's see. Another one. No, that's the same one. My bad. Double P. Start bench cut. Zach Lavine. Paul George. Kyrie.
I hate these.
They're so annoying.
Yeah, they are. The reason why
people love them.
Yeah, they do, man. That's what I'm saying. Just say who do you think is better. That's it.
Can I say this though? When I see start bench cut, I think like this is why I always fight with people on this one, because they want what you're saying. They want rate them 1, 2, 3. But I say, no. If I have a team, right, this is the person I want starting, and here's why. And this is the person I'm putting on my bench, and here's why. And this is the person why I'm cutting. Right. So sometimes I give a different answer than who's 1, 2, 3. But you're right. I think most people want 1, 2, 3. So rank these 3 players 1, 2, 3.
Paul George starts. Kyrie Irving comes off the bench. Zach LaVine cut.
I agree.
I think that's an easy one. Right?
That's tough though, because Paul George missed but who's missed more games though?
I don't care. Zach LaVine doesn't belong on this list.
No, not Zach. Yeah, Zach should definitely cut Zach.
Oh, so you're just arguing Kyrie and Paul George?
Yeah,
Paul
just because I know Paul George, he missed like 30 something games this season, didn't he?
Yeah, but Paul George is the better two-way player. Kyrie is the more skilled player, but
the more skilled player. The more skilled player. Where, Tone? You keep saying, because again, we've had this conversation many a different times. Defense is a skill.
You're right. He's a more skilled offensive player.
Okay, so let's make sure we clear on that.
Yeah.
He looks better. He looks better dribbling. You had an issue with Kyrie. Do you want to deal with that, or?
I mean, for me, I take into account, stats. We got to look at their stats. Honestly, Kyrie I don't know. I feel like he might be averaging more points, but I haven't looked at Paul George's stats recently. But just from like probably the first third or two, maybe half of the season, Paul George was like, I don't know, it was either a Kawhi game or a Paul George game. Typically, it was a Kawhi game. I just didn't see Paul George having that great of a game. But yeah, no, I don't have a problem with it. And Kyrie missed a bunch of time too, and all the drama.
That's my favorite answer right there.
Yeah.
Actually, I wouldn't cut them. I would trade them because I want to get some assets back. All right. We do have more super chats. Let me get to them. Angie Carr, I don't agree with ring culture. Wow, it's like Angie, it's like part of the show. You know what we're talking about. I don't like ring culture being a current trend. Jordan, Magic, and others have voiced how much they value chips. Shaq clowns Charles every chance he can because he never won.
Which is true. And yeah, which is true. And that's because winning has always been what greatness was defined by. So when you talk about the great ones, you talk about Chamberlain, you talk about Russell, you talking about Jabbar, you talk about Magic. Well, what are they synonymous for? They're synonymous for winning. Jordan synonymous for winning. James, all of these guys.
You said Chamberlain.
Yeah.
He's not synonymous with winning.
Winning games, not
he's 2-6 in the finals.
He is 2-6 in the finals, but add that. So tell me, when he won in the NBA finals, who did he beat?
Russell.
Okay, not only did he beat Russell, what other team in the 60s beat the Celtic team?
There was one other. What was that team?
No other team. None. From 60 to 69, that 76 team, the only team that beat them. That's number one. Number two, when they won it in 72, right? When they won it in 72 and he was with the Lakers, how many straight games did they win? They won 33 straight games, which is an NBA record to this day. This is an NBA record to this day. Not only was it an NBA record to this day, add that to the fact that Chamberlain was also the finals MVP that year in 72, finished second in the league in league MVP votes and averaged almost 20 and 20. Well, his numbers went down in the finals. The reason why his numbers went down in the finals is because he changed his game. The first 5 years of Chamberlain's career, he was 35 and 25 in the playoffs, and that got him nowhere. So what ends up happening is he changes his game, and now he makes history.
I agree. When I think of Wilt, I think of a winner, and yes, yeah, but when it comes to championships,
I knew there was one. You forgot about the 1957-58 St. Louis Hawks, who beat Bill Russell and the Celtics.
He said no one beat them. The decade of the 60s, Tone. That's what I said. In the decade of the 60s,
they won a chip. You said
but that's 59. Yeah.
I see what you
in the decade of the 60s.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought you meant who beat Bill Russell and the Celtics. St. Louis Hawks beat Bill Russell and the Celtics.
They did.
But
so Fluent, you don't all the other names you're good with though.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good with all the other names.
Okay, so
you probably want the next super chat. Oh no, talk about Dame. Talk about Dame. Yes, talk about Dame. You guys take it away because I'm looking to see something.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Jay, Dame came out with that interview. He was talking about ring culture, and obviously his situation in Portland, it's pretty likely he's never going to win a ring unless a major star is like, gives up wherever they are and like, screw it, let's just give it a go. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you think he's truly meant that? I don't think Dame's fictitious or fake at all in the way he speaks. I think he probably meant what he said. But do you think that's almost like a sugarcoat of like, I'm dealing with my situation. I'm grateful for her where I am. I get the bag. But do you think obviously he still wants to win a ring? I think as a athlete, that's just natural in you.
I think a lot of people like Damian Lillard see guys winning NBA championships who aren't as good as him, yet they are being compared to him. And that's the issue that he's having, because he's looking at guys like player for player. I'm better than this guy, but the fact that I haven't won, that's the standard that you're holding me to. But the problem with that is that's the culture that we live in. And the reason why we live in that culture is because the greats, Chamberlain, Russell, Jabal, Magic, Bird, Jordan, that's what they are synonymous with. They're synonymous with getting there. They're synonymous with winning. Not only are they synonymous with getting there and winning, they're synonymous for being around for a long time doing that. So the idea that a guy like Damian Lillard, who player for player is better than a lot of these guys that I see, he's player for player, he's better than a lot of these guys that I see. If you're not winning, that stuff matters, and that's the standard that you're going to be held to.
I don't know. I disagree. I still disagree with Wilt not being synonymous with winning, but that's a different conversation. We'll do that another day. Here's the thing. Those guys, the Magics, the Birds, the Jordans, the LeBrons, the Wilts, the Russells, the Kareems. They're not the problem. They're fine. I'll say they're synonymous with winning. But they're not the problem. The problem is the clowns. Okay, it's the Robert Ory's, it's the Draymond Greens,
Mario Ellie's,
right? Mario Ellie, Kenny Smith. Like when Draymond Green says to Charles Barkley, "You can't have this conversation because you don't have a ring, dude. You were the third and fourth option. I don't care how important you were to the Warriors. You weren't the superstar that led that team. Period. End of discussion." Robert Ory. When people say who's 7 rings, I want to punch them in their mouth. It's the dumbest thing that I hear. You have to get to a level of greatness and then the ring conversation. You can't be, I'm trying to think of his name, Patrick McCaw. You know who Patrick McCaw is? You can't be Patrick McCaw winning 3 in a row and saying, "I'm the man, bro." No, you sat on the bench for the Warriors for 2 years, and then you luckily got moved to the Raptors and you sat on their bench and you got 3 rings. You're not in the conversation. I don't care that I got 3 rings. No.
It's like saying James Wiseman has a ring and he didn't play a lick last season.
Exactly.
Like, you can't just look at that.
Is James Wiseman better than Charles Barkley or Karl Malone? No. You can't have that conversation. So I don't think it's the greats. I don't think it's the greats who say, "Hey, I'm playing to win rings." Cool. That's what greats should do and should say. It's the afterthoughts that should be, like when we look at Klay Thompson and Damian Lillard. If anyone says Klay Thompson's a better player than Damian Lillard, you should smack him in their mouth because he's not. And if there were 4 rings, no, dude, that's not an argument. Even if you might say it's close. I don't think it's close. But even if you do, it's rings isn't the argument. You have to get to a certain level first. And then now, if you're talking Malone and Barkley and then Malone won a ring or Barkley won a ring, okay, now you're having that conversation, right? If you're talking, I don't know, just figure out who the next person is. If you're having a conversation and everything else is close, then okay. So that's, I think, the culture where, you get guys like Draymond Green who are flashing around the smile and saying, "Hi, I got a ring."
Mario Ellie started on 2 championship teams, right? And won another ring with Houston, but he started on 2 championship teams. You can't tell me that I can put Mario Ellie in the same conversation with Joe Dumars. Kenny Smith started on a championship team that won an NBA championship in back-to-back seasons. I would never say Kenny Smith and Gary Payton in the same sentence. I can't do that. I will not do that, right?
And I think that's the problem. The problem.
And that's the ring culture that we live in. There is no criteria. So when you talk about all-time greats, and I've had this conversation with you before, Tone, number 1, is your game timeless? Number 2, did you dominate? Number 3, you can't just be kicking ass and not winning. Did you win? That matters. But it doesn't matter as much as the first 2. But it does matter. did you win? And if you didn't win, then I can't talk about you like I talk about this dude, like I talk about that dude, like I talk about this dude. I can't talk about you like that. That's why I have such a difficult time listening to people talk to me about Joker being the best offensive player in NBA history, and we talking about him like we talk about Wilt, or we talking about him like we talk about David Robinson, and we talk about him like we talk about the other great bigs. He hasn't done that other stuff yet.
But
that's why I can't talk about him.
He's still early in his career, but you can still say Jokic is one of the best offensive big men ever.
Right.
You can't just say he's the best player ever in that conversation, because then winning does become part of that equation. Right. But you can still say he's like, listen, I told you I went to the game after that whole, low, and he's the best passer, and he's this, and he's that, and he's those things. Yeah. And I watch a lot of Denver's games, one, because of Jamal Murray, but two, see Jokic. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, look, he's nice. He's again, don't get me wrong, he's nice. And his passes, he's got some flashy passes. But like, if I put on my scout hat, and so that's why I went to the game on Tuesday, and that's why I wasn't at the panel, I was at the game. And I made sure I got a nice close-up seat and watched. What he does on the defensive end, or what he doesn't do on the defensive end, what he doesn't do when the ball's in his hands, that makes me very nervous, because he is phenomenal when he has the ball in his hand and he's engaged. But I saw him be disinterested in plays, especially on defense, where it's just like, like I'm just gonna wait. Oh, ball's in my hand. Cool. Now, like it's this different level.
Joker is one of
he
those
checks
guys,
out on the defensive
Joker is one of those guys.
That's what I saw. That
right.
Look, you see that when you're watching it on TV, because they don't focus on one player. Right. So that's what I did. I ignored everything else, and I just watched him, and I saw that, and it made me like, was it just this game? Right? Because when you look at his box score, you'll be like, dude, he put up like 28, 8 and 8. He shot like 7 of 9, or no, I think
it could have been the game, but
like the stats were great, and the highlights, he had some like behind the back pass. Like my son was going nuts. He was behind the back pass. He was whipping full court passes, and my son was like, "Whoa, cool!" And I'm like, "Yeah, but like, of the 40 minutes, there was like 20 where he did nothing, like nothing." And I'm like, and where he could have, like, there were plays where he should have been engaged. I get it. You take a break and whatever. So it was interesting to watch. Like I said, if you want to really see a player, go watch them live and only watch what they do off ball on D. Like when the ball's not in their hand, it was weird. I'm not saying he's bad or top 5 player, amazing, deserves his MVPs. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying it was interesting to watch him. Mm-hmm. Without that, because as those other things, when he gets a better team, and I'm not saying Denver's bad, but when he gets a better team where he's not going to have the ball as much, I wonder will he be that guy who just is like tunes out? Interesting to see. That's all. Yeah. Next super chat or something else?
Yeah, let's do it.
Should Lonzo retire?
I don't know if he over, man. We didn't say this about Embiid. I mean, Lonzo's only 24 years old, right? We didn't say that Embiid missed 2 years. Embiid not only did he not play his first year, he didn't play his second season either with feet problems. So I'm not sure I'm ready to give up on Lonzo just yet. I mean, if we're at a point where he can't run, if we're at a point where he can't do anything and he's not going to be as effective, then that's something different. But I'd like to see if he could at least do something. And if he can't, then that's something different.
Yeah, he's too young to give up at this point unless recovery, rehab just becomes like, more issues arise during that time and he starts working out again and then more issues. I think you got to just say, this is my body. I'm going to join the rap game and, do my thing there.
Join the rap game.
He's got a plan B.
Become his brother's agent.
Yeah.
Angie, you think if Jordan waited till he was fully done with baseball, then transitioned to
basketball.
Done with basketball, excuse me. Then transition to baseball, he'd have a better baseball career. He'd still have healthy. He'd still be healthy enough to play, and he'd have more time to develop.
Well, that depends, Angie, on when he was fully done with basketball. So if he was fully done with basketball at age 30, like if he was out, like because that's when in 1993, that's when he retired. If he was done, I mean, that's probably enough time for him athletically, if he played a little bit more, to give baseball a legit shot. Excuse me, a legit shot. Because there's plenty of guys that are in the minor leagues that have been in the minor leagues for 6-7 seasons that are almost lifers, right? So
we'll never get out of that. Yeah,
right. It's plenty of guys who have done that. Now, if Jay was done with basketball at 30, I think we could have a conversation about that. However, I don't think he was done. I think that there's the reason why he came back again because of the strike. I do think that he was out after he quit the first time. I do think that he was out, but he started to get that bug to come back. So we don't know when he was actually out. If we could get a better idea of when he was actually out, I personally think he was out at age 30. I think he was out in 93. If it wasn't for the baseball strike, I don't think he would have came back. But we don't really know when he was really out.
I don't. No.
Hold on, Tom. Before you go any further, I got to get with Elder right now. Elder, you are not selling me the suspension logic. None of you guys are selling me the suspension logic. None of y'all. You can't give me legit logic on it. You can't. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tona.
No, I would say there's. Okay. Let's deal with this quick. So I don't believe that he was suspended for gambling. However, there is this much logic to it, and here's why. I did an interview with a man who wrote a book about it, and he said, here's all the evidence for it. I then sat with a gentleman who was the security guard for the Chicago Bulls, who said he did not get suspended, and he was with him every single day, and there was no issues. I also went to school with, Rod Thorne?
Yes.
Okay, so Rod Thorne was the one handing out suspensions back in those days, and I went to school with his son, JJ Thorne. And JJ, in a very high evening, I'll leave it at that, shared that it in fact was a suspension. Now, do you believe someone who's under the influence or not? I don't know. Coincidentally, the time that he missed was exactly the same amount of time as what a suspension would be for gambling at that time. So there's enough there to say maybe. I do not believe that is the case, because why would you take your premier athlete who's the face of your league, who's made you international, who's made you billions of dollars, and suspend him? That just doesn't make sense unless it was a deal to make some evidence disappear. So again, that's a huge conspiracy. So look, yeah.
This is all I'm asking, Tone. He was suspended for gambling. What was he gambling on?
If he was gambling on games, it would have been a lifetime suspension.
That's number one. Keep going, Tone.
And if it was on anything else, it was probably legal.
So once again, what was he suspended for?
He could have been suspended. So there was a conduct detrimental to the league, which is a legit suspension, and so that carries an 18-month at that time, an 18-month suspension, which I believe is exactly how long he was gone for. So again, if you want to find something, you can always find something.
So we got a guy. Let
me forget what the last question was, because I wanted to answer that one.
What were we talking about?
I don't know. And it was Angie.
Angie talked about. No, Angie was talking about.
No, I forgot what it was.
Yeah, I was asking about baseball. Like, when you go back.
That's what we were talking about.
Oh, baseball. Yeah, no. He never would have made it in baseball. Fluent creating his own definition of quit. Hey, Brian, go open a dictionary and read the definition of quit. One of them, depends on which one you want to choose, is to give up. And then go look up to give up. And it means to succumb to failure. So if you want to go down that path, you can. If you don't, hey, don't.
You already had that one.
Still
cooking. Yeah, I thought it was worth it. Which artist would you sign, feature in a song, and drop from the label? Soulja Boy, Kodak Black.
I don't know none of these dudes, to be honest.
You don't know Soulja Boy?
I do know. I know. Zoom, yeah.
Kodak Black and Chief Keef.
I'm good.
But when I hear,
I like Kodak. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, let's let the youngin pick this one. Go ahead. You can do it, and then I gotta tell you a funny story about Soulja Boy.
This is tough. I don't know Chief Keef like that. I mean, I do enough.
Well, then cut him.
I'm gonna go start Kodak because I like Kodak. Probably.
I have heard some of Kodak Black.
Chief. I gotta cut Chief.
All right, Chief is out. So have you ever seen the show 90 Day Fiance?
Yeah,
I've seen glimpses of it.
Not seriously, but I've seen it.
There is a guy on there who is from Nigeria, and he is a musical artist, and his name is Soulja Boy, and he's finding a 90-day fiance to bring him back to America, and you just have to go.
That's what he calls himself.
That's his name. That's his art. That's his name. That his music is terrible and it's hilarious. Soulja Boy. All right, you gotta go watch him. It's hilarious. Ajax Pickering you don't know why that's funny. Ajax Pickering are two little towns outside of Toronto. That's why I said it. Alex Pickering, chill. Why is it easy to transition to vegan? Oh, is it easy? Was it easy to transition to vegan? And what are the benefits?
It wasn't easy. It was actually difficult to do because I didn't come right off of it. I mean, I didn't. It wasn't a gradual thing. It was something that I just stopped doing, and I just went straight to becoming vegan. And the benefit of it was my health improved tremendously. I worked out a lot, and I was trying to figure out why I wasn't in better shape, why I didn't feel better. And I switched up my diet, and I took out all of the no animal byproducts, no meat, no dairy. And I took all of that stuff out, and I ended up dropping 25 pounds, and I actually weigh what I weighed when I was playing in college, and I feel great. And I've been doing it. I'm in year 3 now. Yeah. I'm going into year 3. It's definitely
and I'm going to make him write a vegan book, and we're going to publish it and sell it on Amazon.
Beneficial.
I was on acid and I saw the second, so I believe Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, I feel like it gotta be.
Should we have just had Dave on for the whole show and asked him his sports takes instead?
I don't know if I would have.
He didn't even know who Steph Curry was. Like, I think it would have been a short conversation.
He knew nothing about sports. That's what I'm saying. After he cooked us on the flat Earth, we should have done some sports stuff to get him back.
Yeah.
The Reaper. Why does Bam get so much hate? He's an automatic 20 and 10 with elite defense. Nobody complained when KG was doing that.
Okay, first and foremost, who hates Bam? What do you mean? I hate that term. I'm glad you brought up hate. I hate the term hate. Hate
means anyone that criticizes anyone for doing anything. There you go.
That bothers me. Right. That bothers me because if you look at what Bam has done, right? There's always, it just seems, especially particularly this season, there seems to be something left on the floor. Like he's gotten better. He's gotten much better. His ability to score has gotten better. Him being a defender, him being a weak side defender, him even being a rebounder, that stuff has gotten better. But the idea that people hate on him, nobody hates Bam. Bam should consistently be a 20 and 10 guy. That's what he is this year. He should be that on the regular. Until he starts to slow down, Bam should be a 20 and 10 guy. And the reason why nobody said anything about it with KG was KG wasn't running around with the guys that Bam is running around with. He did not have buckets. He did not have guys like that. So no.
And
time that he had.
Here's the problem. Someone said Sabonis was better than Bam. That's hate. No, that's not hate. That's an opinion that you disagree with.
Hate.
And that is the problem with you people, is that because if someone disagrees with you, you have no other rebuttal but to say he hating. He hating. No.
It's a new casual.
It's the new. No, you have a difference of opinion, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you're right or wrong. It means you have a difference of opinion. Now, you can't argue facts like the world is round, but you can argue opinion. If there wasn't, like, if it's fact, then it's not a debate. Anyways, I saw my name. Angie says, paltering is the word, Fluent. The ability to deceive someone by using. Oh, thank you, man. See, we learned. See,
now you're more fluent.
The ability to deceive someone by using truthful statements. The government lies to us. Everything I say is truthful. See, thank you, Angie. That's very helpful.
Altering.
The one Bird, more defensive impact than Kobe. Top 10 defensive rating, 8 years.
You know he got a he got a better defensive rating than Scottie Pippen too. Now, I think we think about
Larry
Kobe
Bird?
Bryant. Yes, he got a higher defensive rating than Scottie Pippen. I know that sounds crazy, but
I think but defensive rating means nothing.
And the reason why it means nothing, Tone, is because
it takes into account the other people that you're on the court with.
right.
And so if I have a great defensive team, they take that and divide it by 5. And so, if my team is great defensively, I look better, even though I'm not a good defender. And
Like
let me
Luka.
give you, and let
Like
me
Luka.
you want some examples? Just look up all-time best defensive ratings.
I think Bill Russell is at the top of those. I think it's like I think he got a 133, something nuts like that. Something nuts like that.
Gar Hurd is number 1 all time. So he's the greatest defensive player of all time. Dave Cowens is number 2 all time. Let's see.
I think Bird was I think Bird was a better defensive. I think Bird was a better team defender than Kobe. I think Kobe was clearly a better one-on-one defender than Larry Bird. I don't think that was a question.
Are you taking Paul Silas or Hakeem Olajuwon?
Oh, that's easy.
But Paul Cyrus has a better defensive rating.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't really matter. Then
you taking Boblin, Marcus Cannon. No, okay, that's actually not bad. There's some that make sense, but Rick Barry, was Rick Barry known for defense?
No, he was not.
He's got a higher defensive rating than Alonzo Mourning. So defensive rating, when I say things mean nothing,
right?
That's not opinion. That's fact, because there's just quickly, I just pulled it up and found you can do research to see why. Look, if it doesn't make sense for all, it can't make sense for one. So let me give this example. There's a guy that's been on TikTok. He comments on my page about 1,500 times a day, which is awesome. Like, it's great for it's a little stalkerish, but it's great for the algorithm. and he said,
you kind of wow a little bit, but
I'll take it. And he is convinced that when you add your total points and your total assists, so points and 1 point for every assist, so not points generated, actual assists. So if I had 10,000 points and 5,000 assists, my total number is 15,000. The person that has the most total points and assists is the greatest scorer ever. And I said, well, that doesn't make sense, because an assist requires someone else to score the basket for you. So I don't know how you can put assists into scoring. And he says, well, look, LeBron James is number 1 all time. If you add up points, and assists, he's number 1 all time. And I said, yeah, but he's also number 1 all time in just scoring. You don't have to, but he's convinced. And I said, look, this is why it's not true. John Stockton is 8th. No one in the world is going to tell me John Stockton is the 8th best scorer in the history of basketball. You just know that's factually incorrect. He's ahead of Carmelo. It's just so he says, yeah, but still it makes. He says, but it makes LeBron 1. And I'm like, I get that you're trying to prove that LeBron's the greatest scorer of all time. That's just not the way to do it.
Not like that. No,
you can't
combine assists and you combine an assist. Now you can do that to make the argument that he's a better offensive player, but the scorer part, no, you can't do that.
Absolutely,
assists shouldn't be.
If you're trying to prove he's the greatest scorer, that's fine. So let me give you some other ones. So and my point is, so when you try to create a narrative to prove one thing, it has to be true for all. And if it's not true for all, it's true for none. So doesn't make LeBron the greatest scorer of all time. And here, let me give you some more examples. So as I said, John Stockton is 8th all time. Here's who Stockton is ahead of: Dirk Nowitzki, Carmelo Anthony,
no,
James Harden,
no,
Kevin Durant,
no.
Okay, here's some other anomalies.
If we combine assists and scoring,
dude,
no,
assists
that's already out the window. It doesn't.
Yeah, but hold on. Here's some other fun ones. Russell Westbrook is ahead of Kevin Durant by a lot.
Yeah, that would. Yeah.
And here's careers that are done, because people say, "Oh, KD will catch people." Okay, John Havlicek is ahead of Carmelo Anthony. Or if you need a scorer on your team, which one are you picking? Kevin Garnett is ahead of James Harden
as a bucket getter.
So again, if it's true, if it's not true for one, it's not true for all. So I just thought that's hilarious. Debunked. So that's my point. Like, if you can prove it wrong, then you got to move on. All right. What time we got? Okay, we got a little bit more time. We got 20 minutes. Have y'all seen the Jalen Williams? He's been impressive for a rookie. If he develops to a fringe all-star with Chet coming back, how far can they go?
The problem with Oklahoma City, Tone, is Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, all of these guys are the problem with Oklahoma City, because what they did was they gave these people in Oklahoma City that hope. And now all of a sudden they're rebuilding this unit, and people want to talk about Oklahoma City because they have their franchise player in Shea, right? Chet coming back, and hopefully Chet. I'm on record. I think he's a better version. I think he's a more athletic, more skilled version of Sean Bradley. That's what he looked like to me. And Giddey and Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey looks like something special. Now, I think what you need to understand when you're talking about winning an NBA championship, it's not just about the best players, my man. You got a lot of things have to go your way, because there's plenty of teams who've had a ridiculous amount of talent and have not won it. So this young group that you got, how far do you think these guys can go? I mean, are they better than, let's say Jalen Williams ends up turning into something serious and Chet turns into something serious. Are they better than Cleveland? We ain't even gonna talk about the rest of the teams. Are they better than Cleveland?
Because that's a good comparison, I'd say. I mean, yeah, Donovan's a bit older, but I think that's a good comparison, and I'd say no.
Do you know why? You know why I'm making this face? Do you know why I'm making this face?
Chet.
No, because by the time they get any good, they're gonna leave OKC, so it doesn't matter.
They're gonna be gone.
Exactly. That is why. Do people imagine that this unit's just gonna stay together?
That's why the timeline with Shea has just gone up.
Yeah.
Because he's gotten better. So now y'all got to get on it, because you're gonna lose him.
She's coming to Toronto.
If they were to stay together, I'd say absolutely in like 3 years, 5 years maybe, but it won't happen. I don't think.
Yeah, that's. Is there any player you'd give Finals MVP that played on the losing team? Jerry West is the only player to achieve such a feat.
And remember that Jerry West won the Finals MVP after Game 6. He didn't win it at the end of Game 7. They gave it to him at the end of Game 6 because they were convinced they were going to go to Los Angeles and win the NBA championship.
Yeah, and let's be clear. So exactly that. They thought they were going to go back and win. It was also the first time they ever gave away a Finals MVP. It was also the only time that they did it after Game 6 because, oops, they learned their lesson. So there was never any.
Why did they do that though? Like, why were they?
They just
were like so dead set it was going to happen.
Well, the Lakers had handled the Celtics when they played them in Los Angeles. They had handled them each time that they played them. So everybody was convinced that the Lakers were going to win the NBA championship. Boston's coming out here. We got these dudes beat.
And let's be clear, giving them the Finals MVP probably was part of the reason why they lost that game.
Yeah, kicked the other team.
There is nobody that I feel like was the Finals MVP on a losing team. Even though you could be the best player in the championship series and not be the Finals MVP.
Yeah, you can, and that is the difference between the best player and the most valuable player. You can't be the most valuable player to lose. You can't. A series, you can't. You can be the best player and lose, but you can't be the most valuable because the whole point of the series is to win. Like if we start giving away MVPs to losers, then then the earth might be flat.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Where you rank George Mikan all-time 5-0 in the finals?
At the top of the list. He's number 2. How about that?
Get out of here.
George Mikan. Break, man.
I'll put George Mikan at 50 as a courtesy.
Bro,
he's still a top 50 player.
As being the first guy to three-peat. He's a Laker, so I'm biased to my Lakers.
Yeah, right.
And again, first to three-peat, the first like superstar of the league. I'll give him 50 for that.
I think Rolo.
Anything else?
I think Rolo is going strictly off NBA championships. So if we're going strictly off NBA championships, Russell got to go to the top of the list. Then after Russell, then Havlicek, and then not Havlicek. Sam Jones. Then got to go to Sam Jones, and then after Sam Jones, then Havlicek, then Jordan, then Robert Ory goes ahead of Jordan, and then Jordan. So if we're doing that, then
there's more. There's more. There's Russell, then Jones. Havlicek. No, there's another dude. I always forget his name because it's a weird name.
How many does he have?
He's got. I want to say he's got 8 or 9.
Oh man, and we don't even know his name.
Well, because he was on the Celtics. Like anyone who's on the Celtics during that time, right? As all you have to do is be there.
Right.
So here's the list. So you got Russell at 11, Sam Jones at 10. Then you got Tom Hisson. That's the one I always forget.
Tom Heisen,
Casey Jones, Satch Sanders, and John Havlicek with 8. Jim Loskatoff, Frank Ramsey, Robert Ory at 7, and then you got Kuzi, Jabbar, Jordan, Pippen at 6, and then you got Mike and Pollard, blah blah blah, and a bunch of 5.
That's why I asked.
So there you go.
So there you go. So, check your.
So even then, he's not top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I say you can't just put it on rings. Oh, your favorite. You can read this one if you want.
What? Oh, me?
Yeah. Because I'm trying to.
Okay, Angie again. Star bench cut. Flat Earth fluffies. Giga, Chad Globus, Hemp-Head Hollow Earthers. Also, this episode is nuts and I love it. PC, gotcha. Nothing but conspiracy theories. Y'all make it happen.
Oh my God, PC conspiracies. Oh, I'm on that show. Are you on that show? You're on that show.
Oh my God.
Tell me you're on that
show. For a few episodes. I have a lot of.
So
I love conspiracy theories.
That would be and we got to bring in people who believe them. Like I want to bring in the guy who says birds aren't real. They're government robots tracking us and what? Like I'm in. Shaq. I know you're watching Shaq. You're laying in bed in Greece. Listen, man. PC conspiracies. Forget PC kids. We'll push that off. PC conspiracies.
You gotta do it. We start in the Hemp-Head Hollow Earthers because when you skunked out, you'd be surprised what comes out. I'm telling you, be surprised. Now the Chad globalists, I'm not sure what they are. Now I already heard flat Earth. I already heard flat Earth fluffies. So I'm a bench them and I'm cutting the Chad globist.
Yeah, I'm in. I got the exact same one. Double P. If you have a conspiracy, send it.
Yeah.
Send it. Here we go. The one. Still the one. Bird made Celtics go from 19th to 4th defensive team in 1980.
Bird was. I again, Tone.
Did Bird play by himself?
No, he didn't. No, he did not. In fact, he actually played on a really good defensive team with Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale made the All-League defensive team a number of different times. So Dennis Johnson made the All-League defensive team a number of different times. So he played with some really good defensive players. And because he played with some really good defensive players, that enhanced his ability to defend on a team level. So that's why I feel like Bird, as a team defender, I think he surpasses a lot of guys.
Who? So let's see. Who was starting? Who was starting? We don't know who was. Did that team change very much? From 78, 79 to 80?
So from 70, so the team that when Bird got on the crew, it was Tiny Archibald at the 1. Who was playing the 2? It was Tiny Archibald at the 1. The Ford was at the 2.
Ford at the 2.
Bird.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, Larry. Sorry, I just have it in front of me. So Tiny Archibald at the 1, Chris Ford at the 2, Cedric Maxwell at the 3.
Bird at the 4.
And Dave Cowens at the 5.
And that was only 1 year. And then the next year after that,
the year before. So he's saying the year before they were 19th. So who was the 5? So obviously we lose Bird.
It was garbage.
You still have. Well, the problem is I don't know who was starting. They don't have that data. So, but you still have Cedric Maxwell, Dave Cowens, Chris Ford. Tiny Archibald's there, but he doesn't play. He only played 60 something games. Bob McAdoo only played 20 games. So there's some. It is a different roster. So you put those guys together, and yes, maybe sometimes one person is just that key component, but it's not Bird by himself. Like when people say this one person changed,
right?
I don't know. Anyways, double P, Hailey.
Here's a better one for you, Chill. Sign, feature, and drop, or how you like to rank these duos. Outkast, Clipse, Gangstar.
I'm signing Outkast because their material is timeless.
True.
I'm a feature Gangstar, and the reason why I'm a feature Gangstar because DJ Premier got the dopest beats, and I'm cutting Clipse.
You're cutting Clipse?
They out.
You're different, Flint.
No, I'm
same
cutting Clipse.
start.
I'm cutting Clipse too, but I just like the Clipse. It was a good time in my life, you know.
Yeah.
Patty cake. I'm the baker's man. Bake them cakes as fast as I can. Tony Styles and friends. Wilt is 2 and 4 in the finals, and Ellie didn't start for the Rockets.
He started for the Spurs though, so.
But no one cared if they started or not. That's the point. It's you got a ring. That's actually
he started for the Spurs though.
Especially, I think that's like what misses like in these conversations. Obviously, you guys know more about that time in the context and like who started versus who didn't. But as time goes on, you're just a name in history. People aren't looking at all that surrounds every single player, especially some of the players that were so talented back in the day that, you know, people can't really go back and watch all the games that surrounded them. So I just think that, I don't know. There's so much. I don't like ring culture. I'm over it, actually.
Thoughts on Davis sitting versus Rockets?
Oh.
All I gotta say, Tone, is if Hakeem Olajuwon went 35 and 17 the night before, he is playing the next night. That is happening.
Crazy.
But it's very exhausting. You need
that is happening. No question about it.
Listen, you guys don't understand. When you are more skilled, more talented, more athletic than those plumbers, right? It takes a lot of it out on your body, and you have to sit the next day after you have a big game because, well, you know, they're probably taking a blood test to see if you cheated.
AD needs to play. He's sat long enough.
AD needs to wrap himself in bubble wrap.
I personally, I think that it was like a lot of people will say, Tone, that if that was Kobe would have made himself. He would have made them play him. If that was Jordan, he would have made them play him. The organization basically told him, like, we're trying to preserve you, even though we're in a playoff race. We're trying to preserve you. So I don't know if that had a lot to do with him.
Yeah. Even Adam Morrison has a chip. Let's slow down.
Easy. Easy.
Just saying. Frank, top 15 two-way players all time? No.
Really?
You can get 5.
Yeah, 15 is a lot. What the heck? I know, and I bet that's pointed because he's waiting for a specific player. That's why he gave you such a
matter of fact, I'll tell you what, Frank, you give us 15 top two-way players. How about you do that?
Yeah, and we'll tell you if we agree.
That's insane.
I'll tell you
for
this.
$199.
I'll tell you this. No, he's saying. I'll tell you this. Paul George ain't on the list, even though he put himself in at small forward as the best. That's the best two-way. He is not on that list.
No, he's not.
But I'll tell you, Olajuwon is there. Jordan is there.
Duncan is there.
Mm-hmm. Those guys are easy. Those are the locks. I don't know. Bird has the best defensive rating, so Bird has to be at the small forward.
Not doing that. No.
He's got the best defensive rating.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, we're stats people, no?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Okay, we have a couple more super chats, but I want to ask you guys. So because what I just said reminded me of something. Yeah. Do you know who Normie Glick is?
Normie Glick. No,
Normie
I don't.
Glick.
I'm guessing he used to play for the Celtics.
Normie Glick. Of course he played for the Celtics.
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Normie Glick in the 1949-1950 season played one game for the Celtics. One game. That was his NBA career. Normie Glick, one game. Why is he important in NBA history?
Why is he important, Tom?
In 49, Jay,
Normie Glick, the
49-50
season, he played one game for the Celtics.
Did they set a new rule because of him?
He was the first black player that the Celtics had.
He was not. He was white.
Okay. I'm stumped.
He is the only NBA player in the history of the NBA. He's the only one whose other profession was plumber.
So he was actually a plumber. How about that? He was actually a plumber. How about that?
He couldn't make the team. He couldn't make the team. So, and he wasn't enough money. So he went in and became a tradesman, became a plumber, and then had an opportunity to try out again, made the team, played one game, got cut because he wasn't that good. But he is officially the only one to ever actually be a plumber, Normie Glick, and now
you're more fluent.
And now you go.
And now you got it.
I love that. Man, when people say I don't research and I don't do my I don't pay attention, I am always reading stuff like you crazy. Can you read them? My throat is hurting.
Yeah. Michael Green, league and media out to get Kyrie. I think he's out to get himself. At this point, like we talked about this a million times, I believe in freedom of speech and doing. I don't disagree with everything he's doing, but at this point, you're in a place of leadership. People look up to you. You are part of a business that is your job. Use that wisely. Don't be stupid with it, and do what you want in the off season.
I don't think there's an agenda to get rid of Kyrie Irving. I think he's made it less difficult for these guys to come after him though when he does the things that he does.
Yeah.
I disagree. I believe the media and the league are out to get Kyrie Irving, and I believe it has to do with what everything else has to do, which is money. And he says things that aren't within the framework of what they want to hear and what they want their athletes to do. And I think that, out to get him, maybe or get rid of him. Okay, maybe not to that extreme, but I don't think they're doing him any favors. I don't think they like what he does and says. And I think if they had the option or the choice and they had to pick one, they'd say, shut him up. They don't want it. They want to sell jerseys. They want to sell sneakers. They want TV revenue deals. And they know who runs the media markets, who pay their bills.
Yeah.
Listen to how crazy this is. Since 1950 until today, players' salaries, that I think is 140 or something, the number that it's gone up isn't that much. It's a few 100%, which sounds great, but it's not. Do you know what the TV revenue alone has gone up from then until now? Just so since 1980 until now. It went from $1 million to $2.4 billion. That's 2,400%.
Yikes.
2,400 times the money. Trust me, they want you to stay in your lane more than they want you to speak out, unless it's on something they want you to speak out about. And so I think Kyrie, marches to the beat of his own drummer. And whether you agree with what he says or not, he has that right to do that. And I think they'd rather he didn't. And again, I think
that's the world right now. No one can say anything without walking on eggshells. We live in such a little bubble that and
unless
you have to choose how you
iron, then you can say whatever the heck you want.
I don't know. I just think that it's sad that he doesn't have that. But at the same time, if you're aware of that being the case, then just talk to your family, talk to your friends, talk to those closest to you.
I really liked, we were talking about Dame Lillard in that interview. I really liked what he said to JJ Redick when he was like, how come you're not kind of in that situation? Yeah. And he said, because I live a normal life. He goes, my best friend will fly to Portland and because he works from home, and he'll stay with me indefinitely. He'll buy a one-way ticket and we'll just hang out, and I'll come home and I'll play with my kids. And I'll talk to my friend, and I have conversation with my grandma every night on the phone. And he goes, I'm a regular person, and that's why I don't get caught in that stuff. And I already like Dame, but man, after hearing him, I'm like, man, that's if my son were to be an NBA player, that's the kind of guy I'd want him to be. Yeah, is absolutely. That the guy who calls mom every night and says what's up? You know what I mean? I think that was really
dude I went to college with. He knows. I already
respected him. But even more respect for him.
Dude I went to college with, he knows him. He told me, he said Dame is the guy who, if he had a gig at the post office, he'd still be playing pickup. Yeah. So that's who Dame is.
Yeah.
He'll ball.
Yeah, he's real.
No doubt.
I loved hearing that.
Before we go any further, Tone, can I address something really quick in the chat?
Are you going to cuss someone out?
David Estello, who said that Anthony Davis should have won the Finals MVP. Can you give us some legit logic on why he should have won the Finals MVP in 1920 over James? I'm all ears to hear that. I am all ears. Go ahead, Tone.
I would have loved if it was Anthony Davis who won it because the narrative would be wonderful, but I can't come up with a reason why Anthony Davis should.
I just want to hear legit logic on why.
It would make my Jordan debate so much easier.
Absolutely. So a dude who went 30, a dude who went 30, 12, and 9 in the NBA Finals. This dude should have won it over him. So I'm all ears for you to give me legit logic on why he should have won it. That's all I want to hear. Now, Tone, back to you, Tone.
Go ahead. Make that case. Our good friend. I really like his stuff, by the way. There's, I don't watch a lot of people's stuff because I'm always doing stuff, but I watch Sports PSP. I like his stuff. Thoughts on Orlando Brown Jr. to Cincy? It is interesting. It's interesting because on one side, you hear a lot of rumors and chatter that Orlando Brown is an overrated offensive lineman, more of a pass blocker than more of a run blocker than a pass blocker. And what do the Bengals need? They need pass protection for Joe Burrow. But listen, if you can get an all-pro offensive lineman on a team that is in desperate need of offensive linemen, it's a solid pickup. I'm more concerned with if they can figure out a way to keep T. Higgins. Now that Joe Mixon is off the hook how do you let someone get shot how do you let a kid get shot in your house? But anyway.
Oh, that was terrible.
He's off the hook. He had nothing to do with it, whatever. So they say, so okay. But yeah, I think it's a great pick. I wish the Bears had picked him up.
Right.
So I think it's good. Angie, opinions on Jaws punishment. Yeah, eight games, was it?
Yeah.
What do you guys
he was in rehab for 24 hours, 48, and then boom.
Can someone explain to me rehab for what? I don't understand. Acting a fool? Like there's rehab for that?
I think what happened, I think the team and the league have tried to handle it in the best way, basically offering an opportunity for him to say he has a problem, even though I don't know if he does. I don't know his heart. I don't know where he is in his life. But honestly, it could have just been like this looks good. Give it a go, do your thing for a little while. But I mean, I don't know. What does 48 hours do? I haven't changed my bad habits in 48 hours. That's for sure. So I don't know. I think.
What are some of them?
Let me list them out. Here we go. Truth time. But yeah,
no. The chat wants to know.
Yeah, but no, I'm glad Josh coming back. Like, I guess selfishly, because the West is just insanely crazy right now. And like, I guess, I don't know. I think it's good that he's coming back. Hopefully this is a lesson that he's learned. If it's not, next time it's going to come down hard, real hard. But this is kind of like a grace, I guess.
I thought that it would have been cool for him to sit a little while longer. I thought it was 8 more games.
It was a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I thought it was 8 more games. I would have been cool with him sitting for 8 more games. I would have been cool with that because the reason why is I'm looking at his situation right now, Tone, and I mean, he got time. He basically got time served. The 6 games is time served, so he got suspended for 2 games, basically.
Have you ever been to therapy?
Yes.
You ever been to therapy? So you one therapy session, you're like, I'm good, thanks. I don't think that's how it works. I dropped the link in the chat. We have a little bit of time. I'm going to cut you off though. You have to ask your question and go. So the link is in the chat. I got a couple more super chats. Victor, let me get through Victor on the Pacers with an all-star point guard in Halliburton. Turner, who can space the floor, be one of the best defensive front courts surrounded with shooters from heel with Coach Carlisle.
I can appreciate that. Yeah, I can appreciate Vic on that crew. Yeah, he'd be awesome on that team.
He's not going there though.
No, he's not. No. I'd be surprised if Indiana won the lottery. I'd be really surprised.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. Chill, Fluent, and Hailey. Give me some 80s, 90s, and 2000 players that would thrive in today's NBA.
Oh, man. I think Dale Ellis would be awesome today.
That was the first name that popped into my head.
I think Dale Ellis would be. I think Chris Mullin would be awesome today.
Yeah, Lily.
I really like Dana Barros.
Dana Barros would be awesome today.
Glenn Rice would be nice.
Fire today, no doubt about that. Gilbert Arenas would cook
Gilbert
the
Arenas
league.
would be better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he would cook
We
the
need
league
more
today.
of him. Yeah,
Yes,
that'd be
we would.
dope.
No, we need less bad takes. Let's be honest.
Steve Francis and Baron Davis would cook the league today.
Yeah,
Drazen Petrovic.
Drazen Petrovic would cook
We
the league
needed more
today.
of him back then.
Yep. Peja Stojakovic would roast guys today.
Peja would. Oh yeah, Peja at his height.
Peja would
his
roast
shooting
guys.
ability, yeah,
today.
he would.
No
he would
doubt about
love
that.
today's
No
NBA.
doubt. That's just to name a few.
Yeah. So there's tons. There's
Yeah.
tons.
Yeah.
And I've said it before. Look, I don't care what era you're in. If you're a great player, you're gonna be great.
No
It's
doubt.
just- But those guys were like ahead of their time. Like Pete Maravich, right? I'm going way back and one before the 80s. Pete Maravich, one season, unfortunately, shot like 40%. The only season he had with the 3-point line, shot like 40+%. So here was a guy who was shooting from that distance, and there was no line. He was just shooting from there anyways.
Right.
Like that was a guy that if he would have been born now, he would have been fire. All right, we got two more, and then I see you guys in there. We'll get to you. Like I said, though, you got to be quick. All right, I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to be rude. Plumber is better than football insults. Some younger fans say Pele played against farmers. I'll take a plumber over a farmer. Yeah, I'll take that. You wait, like I said, wait till they're telling you your favorite players playing against podcasters now.
I'm telling you. Wow.
Average the bonus this season. Who you picking?
Sabonis for me.
Sabonis.
Yeah.
But it's like this though. It's not like this. It's like
Only
this.
because it's this season. But like if I had
That's
to pick
it.
a player, I'm taking
All time,
Bam.
I would have said Bam, but this
Yeah.
season, absolutely.
Yeah,
Sabonis.
Sabonis is having a better season, sure.
It's been crazy.
All right. So, like I said, we're gonna bring you on one at a time in order that you came. Make your point, and then we're gonna say goodbye.
Wait,
and
what's
then
the limit? Let's do
No,
like
you
30
make
seconds.
no. Listen, you ask your question or make your point, and then I'm gonna take you off, and we're gonna respond. True hero.
Oh, Fluent, I just had a tell Chill some. I mean, I had three things, but two of them was just close ended from 1 and 2. Chill, you know, Power will come out tonight. Power will come out at 12.
Not tonight. Tomorrow. I think it starts.
tonight.
Does it start at midnight tonight on Xfinity? Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Oh, you
tonight.
TV guy? No, you TV guy?
Yeah, I think it starts tonight at midnight. Yeah, what you call it?
At 12. I'm waiting, and I just have one football question and one, and I'm out. So the what's his name? He went to the Dolphins.
Oh, Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, what did that trade in NBA terms? I could get a glimpse. I heard it was like Drew Holiday going to Sixers for Peter Tucker.
No, no, it's better than that.
Oh, okay.
What's
that trade?
It's way better than that. So you figure who's the best lockdown perimeter player in the game?
Wow.
Drew, Marcus Smart.
Wow, you guys are overrating who Jalen Ramsey is right now in his career. This is like
is he a top 5 corner in the game, Tom?
Nah.
So he's not that good anymore.
Is it because of his situation though? Or like,
No,
Wilt, do you think he could be?
I don't think you're going to see much from Jalen Ramsey next season.
Wow.
Even with Xavier Howard?
Yeah. I think
we'll be talking about this in September, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to look back. Did you have another one, Drew? Yeah, I think they're going to look back and be like, "Oh man, he dropped off."
Yeah, but my main question was DeMar, Jimmy, and I think I'm going with DeMar, man. I get the defensive presence. You know what I'm saying? I get that, but I think DeMar is a better scorer than Jimmy. Man, that's a tough one.
DeMar DeRozan or Jimmy Butler?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
take Jimmy.
They're like the same player to me, really.
No, they're not.
All right, True Hero, I'm saying goodbye, and then we're going to answer your question. Here it is. Jimmy Butler's way better than DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah,
Get out of
That's
here.
crazy.
No doubt about that.
Kane Marco, what do you got, man?
Quick question. LeBron went to the finals 8 years in a row, right?
9 times in 10 years. Yeah, 8 years in a row.
8
That's
years in a
correct.
row, yes.
8 years in a row.
Other than the big three Boston Celtics, was there any team in the East that you thought may have won the championship if LeBron didn't put them out?
Yeah, Atlanta in 15. I mean, Atlanta in 14. I mean, Atlanta. Just so you know, they were 14 games over 500 against the Western Conference, and Cleveland is the only team that beat them. That's the only team.
You thought they would have beat the Spurs?
That's the only team that beat them. That's it.
You thought they would have beat the Spurs?
They beat everybody else.
You
asking me a question. I'm answering your question.
They'd win the finals.
That's the answer.
The only team that beat them in the East was Cleveland, and they would have. And like I said, it was 14 games over 500 against the Western Conference. There you have it.
So I'll answer your question, and then thank you for it, Kane. The answer is no one. Thank you. Who we got? We got two more. All right. What the heck?
Dude, that's creepy.
That's creepy.
Fluent, take it down. We don't know. If we don't have camera, we shouldn't put it up
What
anymore.
up? What
Okay.
up?
All right.
What up?
You're out because you weren't ready. Chris D.
What up?
I'm on the ready to drop door.
What up?
He dropped off anyway. Chris D is out. All right, there you go. And that's who we got? Oh, that was who we got. Dev. Here we go. Dev.
Wow, I just clicked the link. Okay.
You were ready?
You're prepared?
Sebastian's ready if you're not ready.
Yes, ready.
All right, ready, go.
My question is to you guys. What team are you most excited to see in the playoffs? And number two, who do you think was... And two, who do you think had the best free agency for NFL right now?
I wasn't paying much attention to free agency, to be quite honest with you. I probably should be, but I was not paying as much attention to free agency as I should have been. And the team that I'm looking forward to the most, Tone, in the playoffs is Sacramento. I want to see what they look like.
Yeah, same.
Man.
They look good tonight. They look real good tonight against Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm. I want to see what Sacramento look like in the playoffs.
You straight up stole my answer. It was. Yeah, go ahead, Hailey. You go.
I was just gonna say for sure in the West, Sacramento, because I think people are just underrating them. Like they're gonna be really special. In the East, obviously the Sixers for me, they're kind of, we've all talked about it. Like we want to see them. I don't want to see a Celtics Bucks Eastern Conference Finals. I want to see somebody else in there, and I think the Sixers can get it done.
Yeah, same.
Other than the Eastern Conference winning Toronto Raptors, I'm also really excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see. I'm actually excited to see.
They're gonna be better. Don't worry. Your Raptors gonna be back on top.
Sure. I'm excited to see. Obviously, the Lakers. I'm gonna take my teams out. And you took my answer, the Kings. I'm also excited to see Memphis. I'm curious. I'm actually more curious to see how they react to the whole Johnson suspension. They come back. Like, what do they look like? Are they still that swagger team that talks too much and chirping at everybody? Or do they like, hey, let's get down to business. Let's get that Kobe mentality. Remember that job finished? That's not finished. Like that attitude, like don't over celebrate and just go to work, because then I think they go to the finals if they do that, which
I don't think they lost their swagger yet.
And to answer your first question, I'm going to run you down the list. You ready? DJ Moore, Tremont Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Nate Davis, DeMarcus Walker, Travis Homer, Kerry Blazingame,
the Bears,
Patrick Scales, and Dietrich Ellison, and 2 first-round picks. The Bears killed it. I wish the game was played on paper, because we killed it on paper in the offseason.
No, right now.
Yeah.
If I could get the most
We'll see how it works.
Y'all GM did major improvements. I really love. I'm excited to see the Bears next season. I think Justin Fields will take that leap. I like what the Falcons are doing, going aggressive against Jesse Bates and making an offense. But yeah, I like y'all takes. Appreciate y'all for having me on.
Yeah, thanks,
yes,
man.
sir.
Thank you.
All right, brother.
I gotta add this. The biggest move the Bears made to help them win their division was made by the Green Bay Packers moving Aaron Rodgers to the Jets.
There you go. The door to the door to the NFC North the door to the division championship just flew open.
Like,
Let's go.
Flew wide open.
Sebastian, I'll give you a second to collect your thoughts, because I want to say this. It's very much like when the boogeyman left the East and opened the door for the
door flew open in the Eastern Conference when
It's your
James
time, Fluent.
flew open.
It's their time. So our boogeyman's out. Sebastian, what do you got, man?
Good evening. Thank you for having me on. I have a really good question. Who do you think is a better two-way player, Paul George or Jimmy Butler?
Who's a better two-way player?
Paul George or Jimmy Butler?
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy. Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, Jimmy Butler.
No. I think it's Paul George.
Why? What are you basing that on?
Okay.
Tom?
I think the defense is close, but I got Jimmy Butler has better defense. But I think Paul George does more offensively than Jimmy Butler. And again, I'm going by opinion. I probably will have to. Someone will say, "Well, this, that, and that's that." I haven't looked at any of that. I'm just going by based on memory. I feel like Paul George has a better offensive. The gap between their offensive games is bigger than the Jimmy Butler advantage on defense.
And with that being said, Jimmy Butler gets it done as a scorer in bigger spots than Paul George has done. That's
Agreed.
why.
And without the help that Paul George has had as well.
Paul George had help.
He has had help, yeah.
Tone, don't forget he played with Russell. He played with Russell Westbrook and he played with Carmelo Anthony. Don't leave that part out. And he was first team All NBA with
Jimmy Butler played with Joel Embiid
And they lost on a buzzer beater in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals.
You lost
to the NBA champion. They ain't lose to a good team. They lost to the NBA champion. And by the way, Philadelphia told Buckets, we straight. We're gonna stick with Tobias Harris.
Yeah, see, they were wrong. Who you got, Sebastian?
Personally, I'm gonna go Butler just because of the playoff success.
You're lying. I see the sun. You're in Miami.
Wait. And last question. Sorry, I have one more question. Who do you think is the more versatile point guard defender, Drew Holiday or Gary Payton Sr.?
The more versatile?
So like in
I think
positions.
I think GP and no point guard could guard all 5 positions except Magic. So Stockton couldn't guard all 5 positions. Jason Kidd couldn't guard all 5 positions, but Gary Payton was a more versatile defender than Drew Holiday.
Yeah, I'm with that. All right, and you are in Miami, right?
Yeah, both are. Yeah, I'm South Florida.
Yeah, I knew you were. I could see. That's why Jimmy Butler love. All right, thanks, Sebastian. Last one, and then we out Noah.
What's good, y'all?
What up?
Hello.
All right, so what are y'all's, if you can in order, what is y'all's top 10 basketball peaks? Top 10.
Top 10 peaks?
Do 5?
Let's do like 3. That's a lot.
Okay, think about that for a second. Top 10 peaks. So in the 75-year history of the NBA, the top 10 players all time, their peaks.
Shoot, I actually had
let me tell you what he wants you to do. He wants you to put Steph Curry in there. That's what he wants you to do.
No, I'm not doing that.
That's what he wants you to do.
I actually don't have Stephen. I actually don't have Curry in my top 10 peaks right now.
All right, peaks.
Top 10 peaks. What defines a peak?
The first two are easy. The first two are easy. Jordan and LeBron.
Yeah.
The first two are easy. Jordan and LeBron.
Of course.
Chamberlain.
I personally have Kareem up there from 71 to 75.
Is Magic in there?
Shaq's
got to be there.
I'll do that. I'll go Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Wilt, Magic.
There we go.
Who you got?
Oh, you talking about me?
Yeah. Who you got?
I'm sorry. The first two is correct. Chamberlain, Jabbar, man, please, man, he went 35 and 25 in the playoffs.
I'm taking
in the playoffs.
Winning matters.
Give me a break.
I know.
Carmelo Anthony did not have a better peak than Chamberlain.
No, I don't know. Kareem from 71 to 75. I don't know. Chill.
Just so you know, Jabbar.
He didn't say Carmelo. He said Kareem.
Jabbar from Kareem. 71 to 75.
Kareem, okay.
That's not enough. Go from 69 to 70. Go from 69 to 77. He went 30 and 15.
Yeah,
so
I also have an unpopular. I also have Kobe in there from 06 to 2010.
Oh, I forgot about Kobe.
And my fifth one is Olajuwon.
Yeah, I got Hakeem at like.
No, Elijah, no.
My fifth one is Olajuwon. So,
anybody that we didn't say that's in yours?
Let me see. Actually, let me go down the list.
Oh, you have. Oh, he came ready. What happened there?
Duke freshman, yeah.
While he's looking up his list, March Madness, you guys got any upsets? Any crazy picks?
Yes. Arizona, get out the tournament. Bye. Yeah. Get Arizona out the tournament. Get out of here.
People are picking them.
Same thing with Virginia. Beat it. They're going to door right there. Don't let it hit you in your ass on the way out. Get out the tournament. Bye.
Whoa.
Get out the tournament.
I have no takes on the men's side, but I have one that I must keep repeating. The UCLA Bruins on the girls' on the women's side will upset and win the women's national championship this year.
You think they're winning the whole thing, Tone?
Knocking off the favorite, whoever they are.
South Carolina. Ain't nobody beating South Carolina, Tone.
They're beating South Carolina. They're knocking them out.
It's the end of the year. South Carolina loaded.
Knocking them out. Shout out to my boy Stuart Hart, who's the strength and conditioning coach for the women's basketball team at UCLA.
So now it's making sense.
I actually have my list.
All right, go ahead. We can say this list and then we out.
Yes, sir. From number 1, I got Jordan from 88 to 93. Number 2, I got LeBron from 09 to 16. That's how long I think his peak was. That's just my opinion. I got Shaq from 2000 2002. Kareem from 71 75. I know you hate that. And then number 5, I got Wilt from 62 to 66. Then I got Hakeem from 91 to 96. Kobe from 06 to 2010. Bird from 83 to 88, Magic from 85 to 90, and then I got Duncan from 99 to 05. That's what
Duncan
All
was
right,
awesome.
I like it. I like it. All right, no, thanks, man. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
All right, brother.
Yes, sir.
I am gonna let Chris's was on the longest. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead. You said it was quick.
Yeah, my fault.
No worries,
Also, Chilltown, you tried to throw in that Magic Johnson played all five positions. You ain't slick for that. That was low key slick.
What do you mean I wasn't slick for that? Did he not play the 5 in the finals?
He could guard.
No, he did not.
Did he not play the 5? Yes or
Not
no?
in game 6. No.
In game 6, did he not play the 5?
All he did was jump ball.
That was it?
No, don't
That
listen to
was it.
Mars. Hey, Chris.
That's all he did? Is that what
Chris,
this is
wait,
nonsense,
Chris,
here we go.
Hold on, wait. Chris, don't listen to Mars.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Because I debunked him so bad that he came on the show and said he was wrong. I was right. So
see, this is what I'm talking about. These dudes they just talking. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about.
Mars said he was wrong.
Okay. Listen, I will go back and revisit.
Please go do your homework.
Go back and watch.
He didn't just get 15 rebounds like Russell Westbrook, and they were stat pad. No, he was playing in the hole.
I never said he wasn't.
He wasn't guarding the 5. He was guarding the 4 most of the night. But he was posting up and he was.
And he played the 5.
Played the 5. Yeah.
Does he religiously play the 5? That's all I'm saying.
Religiously? No. Why would you?
You would not put him on
religiously play the 5.
And he
Why would you do that?
Anyways, even then, AC Green went for 37. By the way, hold up. Let me get back to my questions. Sorry.
AC Green?
AC Green, no,
he wasn't even on the crew.
He wasn't on that team.
AC Green wasn't on the crew until 85.
I think
in 1980?
AC Green didn't get on the crew until 1985. He was a rook in 1985 from Oregon State. My man, if you're going to come on here and talk to me, can you please know what you're talking about before you talk?
All right, my man. Listen, I'm going to go to you. Relax.
Anywho,
listen.
You said it was quick. Let's go quick.
Okay. I just wanted y'all's opinion on Keith Kloss's top 10.
I didn't hear it. Who
is his top 10?
So he had KD at number 6, which he had above both Steph and LeBron. He had LeBron at 10. So what are y'all's honest thoughts on that?
I think I think a lot of times when you see stuff like that, I think that's strictly from the perspective of a basketball player. They don't factor in everything else. They just looking at you from a basketball player's perspective. Like this dude, player to player.
Who I want on my squad.
Yeah. That's I think that's all they're thinking about.
It's very skill oriented, which isn't a bad thing, but just be clear. I'm doing it based on that. So
Well, also his other thing. Also, he said that KD had done more with less talent as well when compared to LeBron.
Did he?
Yeah.
Less talent? I'm sorry.
I wanted your thoughts on that.
All the acquired talent, all the acquired things that he has on his resume are from playing with Steph Curry. Without him,
Dell,
he didn't do
even Dell, who's
he wanted to get rid of the whole.
Dell would tell you he had more talent, and Dell
is a KD
guy.
Dell is a KD guy.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Oh my God.
I promised I would do this for Angie because she's loyal. So, Fluent, could you say about just one time? About why is it different?
No, that's not what it is. Say it, Tone, like you from Canada. Like what?
Say it.
What are we talking? What, Tone?
We're talking about. What are we talking about?
No, that's not what we're talking about.
I've heard you say it.
What are we talking about?
That's what you say about. Give
me a break, Tone.
What do you want to say? A boot? We don't say it like that.
Where's the Canadian?
I learned to speak English on TV. From the TV. My parents didn't speak English. I watched TV and I learned English about.
You speak Greek? That's your primary?
I am fluent in yes, I am. Yes. I am fluent.
Boom.
Literally.
There we go.
I'm fluent. And just to prove it, I don't know if you guys remember this. Jay the Plug, actually 2 times. Jay the Plug from Plugged In with Jay. His wife is Greek and he was on Gridiron. He's a football guy. And he's like, hey, my wife is Greek. Here, talk to her. And he made me talk to her in Greek. And he's like, oh, you actually do know Greek. And then another time, when I think it was the first episode with Shaq.
Yeah.
Because he plays in Greece. And there was something, he goes, oh, talk to this person. And I had a conversation like, they didn't believe me, which I think is hilarious.
There you go.
Gotta let him know.
So that's all we got to talk about today.
It was was a show. Now it was interesting. It was good. It was interesting.
I want you guys to blitz. I mean, seriously, I want to hear if you want other guests like Flat Earth Dave on the show again, because we can bring in people for like 15, 30-minute segments. That one went a little long because it was controversial, but we can do that if you want it, or we could just sit and talk sports like we do. But I just feel like it was good to have a little
Flat Earth Dave.
It was good. It was good to change it up. Dude, that was so crazy though. Like what it like
H, I got nothing to say about I'm out. I'm straight on Flat Earth Dave, yo.
He convinced me that the earth is round more than I thought before. So
really,
the one thing that he didn't convince me, I ain't saying that the earth is round, but what he didn't convince me is that it's flat. He didn't convince me that.
Here's the thing. I believe the earth is round, just to be clear, because there's people in there giving me a bunch of fluent flat earther. I believe the earth is round. That being said, because I don't believe, because listen, I see the moon and I see the sun, like I see that they're round. So you can't like to think that they're all round and we're not just is crazy. But I will say this. He does have more evidence than people who tell you it's round. Right? Like the only evidence you have is, well, there's a picture of it.
Right.
Because no one's gone into space and looked at it. Like, and I've never heard that we're spinning through the universe thing.
That is not.
Because I can't believe
he
that.
lost me there, and he started with that.
No,
like,
but
I'm sorry.
We just rolling with no breaks. That's what we're doing. We just rolling.
But that's not what he says. That's what the Earth people say. The round Earth people say that.
That's not even. But he said that they say that when they don't. I mean, some random people might say that, but that's. Not
I've never heard it before. That's where it was weird.
Yeah.
Check the doc behind the curve. Y'all will like it. Okay, I'm gonna check behind the curve. Thank you, Angie. Angie found a new way to super chat. She just puts it in 7 times.
Yeah. Smart.
So the Earth is flat. Birds aren't real. You want birds aren't real? You want that next?
I guess part 2.
All right.
Stay tuned.
Jay.
We love you guys. You guys know where to find us. We will be here again next week. But until then, take it light, but take it.
We love
you
guys. That's not what I was expecting.